If you like audiobooks or audio shows, check out a free trial of Audible. Just click the link in the description.
Welcome to Mindshock True Crime. This is Bruce McGuire.
And Maxwell Powers here.
We are on Maura Murray, episode 18.
Shoo-hoo, 18.
Man, I thought this case would have been solved by now already.
Nah.
So, we have just finished up our Persons of Interest series. We did 3 parts going over a lot of persons of interests. And the last particular episode was centered around the University of Massachusetts, Umass. And this episode will be about the Umass silence. The silent Umass. And why is there a conspiracy of silence around Umass? What do you think, Maxwell?
I don't know. I really don't.
So there is a lot of stuff to go over. So there's also, I found something very, very interesting. For the people that believe that Maura's breakdown on Thursday night, so she went missing on Monday the 9th up in New Hampshire, allegedly, if it was her. You think it was her, Maxwell?
I really don't know. Possibly.
So the previous Thursday into Friday on that evening, there was the famous breakdown, the emotional breakdown that started the spiral. And Maura's state of mind was never the same after that breakdown. She talked with her sister. She talked to Billy Roush and her supervisor, Karen Mayotte. Her supervisor found her in a somewhat catatonic state, and she had to be escorted back to her dorm room. What do you think about that, Maxwell? You remember that?
I don't remember that, but that's the one that got interviewed recently?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, remember we discussed it many, many times?
I don't think we ever discussed that one.
Oh, we discussed the breakdown many, many times.
Oh, the nervous breakdown of Mars?
Well, when she got off the phone, supposedly. At the 10:30 to 1 a.m. breakdown, depending on which timeline you're on.
That's messed up. That's one of the things that make James Renner theorize that she's still alive and like getting away from stuff, right?
Yes, and then if you remember, the Patrice Vassie hit and run could have theoretically happened that night as well. Well, it did happen that night, but Maura could have theoretically been involved.
Was the breakdown timeline right before?
He got hit just after midnight.
And the breakdown was what time?
We don't know for sure. So if it was 1 a.m.-ish, it would be afterwards. But she was on the phone with Billy.
Wait, how can we not be sure? Because wasn't that girl interviewed? Like.
Yeah, but she said it was 10:30, but she wasn't 100% sure. And previous reports said it was 1 a.m.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, it's quite a mess. Well, there's one very, very significant detail, dare I call it a bombshell, that I will be revealing at the end of the episode. And we will try to make sense of that phone call. So it could be one of the most significant bombshells in this entire podcast series. Information that could reveal the catalyst which set Maura's actions into play that weekend. So, but first, we have to figure out a few things. What time did she leave campus on February 9th to head up to New Hampshire? And how far did she make it? So one article linked to her website said Roush said a dorm mate saw her leave campus at about 4 or 4:30 p.m. February 9th.
Okay.
Now, we do not have the name of this dorm mate. We don't really know anything other than this is what Roush had said.
Okay.
Okay, so we also have the ATM footage. So,
which was around what time?
The ATM timestamp is 3:15 p.m. Okay. Someone saw her leave campus between 4 or 4:30 p.m.
Oh, so that's definitely off. That's definitely off.
Unless she came back to her campus after visiting the ATM.
Huh.
To get more stuff or whatever. But let's get into that. So we still don't have any real corroboration
she forgot her stuffed animal.
She had 2 stuffed monkeys. One of them was left in the dorm room. One of them was in her car.
Yeah, I remember he was hanging on the ceiling or something.
Yeah, the one in her dorm. And then I believe John Smith currently has the other one.
Okay.
So, we don't know for sure who that dorm mate was or whether their time is reliable or not. All we have is an article citing that info. So then, of course, Monday morning is when UMass issues an announcement regarding Patrick Vassy being in a coma. Whether he will survive is unknown. So he got hit Thursday night, but nobody really knew about it. Monday morning is when the campus notified everybody.
Okay. But wait, so no one knows no one knows who hit Vassy.
Correct.
Until today, I mean.
Correct.
Still, wow,
Yes.
that's interesting.
Well, there's also other hit and runs that year, multiple hit and runs that year and the year before, also all unsolved.
Were they all Russian people?
Patrick Vassy is an Albanian.
Oh, sorry, Albanian people.
I don't know who the other victims were actually. I couldn't find too much information about it other than UMass referencing that there were other hit and runs. That's pretty much all there is.
That might be useful information if a lot of hit and runs happened that year.
Well, this Albanian was associated with Iranians, not Albanians.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, obviously, yes, curious that there was a number of hit and runs that year and the year before. So, stranger and stranger. So, before we get into the nitty-gritty at UMass, let's examine the ATM video and the liquor store receipt one more time to get an idea of Maura's movements after leaving campus. So, the ATM in North Amherst, next to Cumberland Farms at 19 Montauk Road. Here is the ATM. So, this is UMass. So, her dorm was about there. So, she drove all the way to the ATM location. Then, the liquor store that she visited is Liquors 44. The liquor store time is time-stamped 3:43 p.m.
What was the stamp again on ATM? Oh, ATM was 3:30, I think.
The ATM was 3:15 p.m.
3:15.
So she has 28 minutes. What was she doing in 28 minutes? We will actually reveal this information.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
You
Right
know
now.
You know what happened?
I think so.
You think so? All right, let's see this.
Okay, well, the first curiosity we have here is there's a liquor store right next to the ATM. So
Okay.
why would she drive all the way over there to Liquors 44 on the other side of town? Any ideas, Maxwell?
I don't know. There's a better looking dude at the other liquor store. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she knew. It's possible she knew the guy at the. She knew someone at the other liquor store, but we don't really know for sure. She picked a farther away liquor store.
Maybe she stole some stuff at the other liquor store and he's not welcome there anymore.
That's messed up.
Well, I
There's
don't know.
no real proof
but-
she stole anything.
Okay, I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay, so apparently, judging from the receipt, she redeemed 79 cans and bottles for $3.95.
She did that?
Yes, it's on the receipt. There's a credit on the
She
receipt.
redeemed right on the receipt.
Well, what else could that mean?
So she came in with a freaking bag of like cans and shit like that?
Correct.
Get out of here. Into that liquor store?
Supposedly, yeah.
Do all liquor stores do that?
I think most of them do. Yeah. So,
I think I just found myself a
so
new job.
this is a rumor. Apparently, the other person that saw her that day. So nobody's ever been named who has witnessed Maura on campus that day or leaving campus. But from articles or down the rumor mill, someone said they saw her that afternoon carrying a trash bag of cans.
Okay.
So this would corroborate the fact that she did in fact redeem these 79 cans and bottles. I mean, that's a lot.
79? That's it?
Yeah, that's a lot. And she only got $3.95 for it. Like, if she's got hundreds of dollars in the bank, I mean, not a lot, but she's got...
Well, she seems to be, she's probably like a recycling type of girl. Like, I recycle plastic bags. Like, I don't like to throw them in the garbage, so I just keep stacking it until I collect like 3 bagfuls, like garbage bagfuls.
Yeah, but okay,
plastic
so
bags.
Maxwell, let's say you're planning to run away. Are you going to spend time redeeming all that for $3.95? On the day that you're leaving?
I guess not. I would. Yeah, that's not something I would think. Well, actually, I don't know. I've recycled bags. 'Cause
Is
it's
that
kind of-
$3.95 really going to help you?
No, but I don't think he's doing it if she's not doing it for the money.
But if she's taken off for a whole week, that's what she's going to do that in that time period?
No, I think it's a habit for her. For you to recycle like cans and shit like that, it's a habit. It's like something that you do because you're like an earth loving bastard.
Okay, so let's say, so if this sighting is true, and if it was her at the liquor store, supposedly the liquor store has a video security camera as well, but that has not been released. It would be curious to see that, because we do know it's her at the ATM, unless that's doctored footage. Do you believe that footage is real, Maxwell?
Well, it seems like it's her. I don't know.
It is her, but what if they change the timestamp?
That can be true, but also wasn't it cut a lot? Like wasn't it?
Yeah,
cut,
that's not
like,
the full video. Supposedly there's either another vehicle or people in the background that the police did not want anybody to see, so that's cut out, yes.
Yeah, it's really weird because they didn't want to show the vehicles, which is kind of weird.
Well, also, you can't see her Saturn. It's not parked directly behind her. In which case, which car is she using? Did someone drive her there? Is she using another car? What's going on?
I don't know, but they never showed it, so we never know.
Exactly. That's suspicious. So, here's the point. If it is her, and if she is on campus, and she's walking around with a big trash can, that would suggest that there is nothing is really up. Like, if someone at Umass harmed her, it would have to be after that time period. So, whatever happened at the party, she felt comfortable enough walking around with a big trash bag, taking her time, going across town to a different liquor store. Or maybe we thought about it the other way around. Maybe she knows the person at the liquor store next to that ATM, and she doesn't want to see them. Or possibly they're friends with someone she doesn't want to see.
I see what you mean. Like she's avoiding people, you mean?
Yeah,
Like
or avoiding someone that she knows is going to tell somebody else that they saw her.
That could happen. Because she never really saw anyone that day, right? Like when she left?
Supposedly not. So she dropped off the medical scrubs at the apartment, remember?
Yeah, I don't remember, but why
But the person, she left them at the door. Well, we don't know. So if she's leaving...
Well, is having her medical scrubs a routine for her?
Well, here's what's weird. Why did she borrow them? She doesn't have her own. The whole thing's kind of weird. And that student didn't see her either.
That's interesting.
So, anyway, back to this. So she doesn't seem... If this is her, she doesn't seem to be in too much of a rush. The other thing is we don't really know if somebody else was with her making her do this and appear normal. I mean, if she's under some kind of duress or involved with shady people that are going to do something to her, they could possibly be making her do something. I mean, that's probably a bridge too far to make her go trade in 79 cans because it's something she does usually, and they're planning on kidnapping her or doing something nefarious. Do you think they would make her go through those motions just so somebody could say, oh yeah, we saw her?
See, if she's doing those routine type things like recycling and you know, I don't see her like leaving on purpose. Like she must.
Yeah.
I mean, she must have been kidnapped and killed or whatever.
Yeah, something strange is definitely going on. So, I mean, this is something that's not really talked about, but it could possibly be a potential super important details. So, more people probably would have seen it. Like, was the clerk at the liquor store ever interviewed? Like, that'd be interesting, right?
That would be very interesting.
To
To interview both clerks from both liquor stores.
Well, she didn't go to the other liquor store.
Well, I don't know. Just saying, like maybe it's close to.
If
the
they
ATM.
saw her across the street at the ATM, like the question I asked
Yeah,
before.
but you can ask a question like, "Do you know Maura?" And then like, if she did or if he did, then that would be a reason not to go to that particular liquor store.
Yes, true.
If she was avoiding.
Okay, so what do you think of this information? Like, it is kind of weird. She picks a liquor store not close to the ATM. There's another liquor store right there. Supposedly someone saw her with a big trash bag. Now, if she's taking like $280 or whatever out of the ATM, is $3.95 really going to make that much of a difference? So you're saying it's habit-based and it's not about the money?
Yes, it's not about like she's not gonna collect. It's habit based, and then she cares about the planet and that kind of shit.
Once again, if she's planning on leaving, is this? It's just, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I
think
don't
it's
know.
just. I think it's just. It's almost irrelevant whether it's like it's she planned on leaving or whether she. You know
Okay.
what I mean, like,
All right. So now let's look at the aftermath of her disappearance at UMass and how it was handled and investigated by UMass, because this is very curious. So, from the Massachusetts Daily Collegian, Missing Student, A Mystery to Police, Classmates, by Erica Lovely and Farron Seiniker, Collegian staff. February 16th, 2004, so this is pretty close to after she went missing on the 9th. Police are investigating the disappearance of a University of Massachusetts student who was last seen at the site of a car crash on Monday, February 9th. According to the Boston Globe, Maura Murray, 21, of Hanson, Massachusetts, crashed her car into a snowbank last Monday in Haverhill, New Hampshire. The accident was her second in 3 days. Murray had recently crashed her father's car on Saturday of the previous weekend. Murray disappeared from the site of the crash after a resident tried to help and who had called the police, despite Maura asking him not to, the Globe reported. Murray was gone upon arrival of police, her car left abandoned and undrivable, the Globe said. Chief Jeff Williams of the Haverhill Police Department does not think foul play was involved. Our concern is that she's upset or suicidal, something the family was concerned about, he told the Globe on Friday. The accident took place along Route 112, about 5 miles away from Wells River, Vermont, and a mile away from Swiftwater Village by the Connecticut River. Police used dogs, a helicopter, and fish and game officers to perform an immediate search around the crash site area and found nothing. The search has since been called off. Murray is a junior nursing major, a Dean's List student who works in a local art gallery. 2 University of Massachusetts police officers, detectives Chris Thrasher and Brian Davies, and 2 counselors from mental health services visited a junior nursing class, parent-child nursing, on Friday afternoon. Joanne Cully, administrative director of the Office for the Advancement of Nursing Education, and Eileen Breslin, dean of the School of Nursing, were also present at the meeting. In addition, an email was written by Breslin and released to the UMass nursing community. According to the email, Murray sent an email to her faculty Monday afternoon at 1:24 p.m., so this would be before the ATM, before the liquor store, indicating she was heading home for the week due to a death in the family, and she would contact everyone when she returned. Lindsay Pemberton, a junior nursing major, has the same class schedule as Murray and was present for the meeting on Friday. Pemberton told the Massachusetts Daily Collegian that staff in the nursing department spoke to Murray's family and were told that there were no recent family deaths. Also, her dorm room was all packed up like she was planning on moving out, said Pemberton. Kind of interesting how Pemberton knows that. And now that we've seen the photographs, it doesn't really look like that. It looks like she hasn't unpacked. And Pemberton would know that because she's a student. Very strange. The email to the nursing community also stated that Murray called her boyfriend, Army Lieutenant Bill Roush, Tuesday morning. At the Friday meeting, police said that Roush only heard someone breathing on the other line. The police were unable to trace the call. That's the Red Cross call they're talking about. According to Sharon Roush, the boyfriend's mother, Murray had emailed her boyfriend on Monday afternoon saying she needed to speak with him. Murray's family, including Roush and his parents, have flown to New England and are passing out flyers along the New Hampshire-Vermont state border, hoping someone will recognize Murray. She was really quiet and didn't hang out with any of us, said Pemberton. She was a sweet person, but she didn't get personal with anyone. Murray and Roush met at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. As of yesterday afternoon, the Haverhill police have had no leads in the case and hope that Murray will try to contact a family or friend. The case is under investigation and we are not discussing it at this time, said the Haverhill Police Department. I guess they're still not discussing it. So it appears that UMass did absolutely nothing until Friday afternoon. So they did nothing until Friday.
okay.
Also strange is that Pemberton, fellow student, is saying that her dorm room is all packed up. Why is she saying that?
I don't know.
Okay, here's an excerpt from the Daily Hampshire Gazette by Scott Merzbach, dated Thursday, May 31st, 2018. So this is what Maggie Freelung has to say about UMass. Freelung, who is a UMass graduate, works professionally as a public radio producer, but in the 2 years she has been on the case, All of her free time and vacations have been focused on the Murray affair. I expected to do the show and then expected to move on with my life, Freeling said. Now she makes regular visits to New Hampshire, staying in the community as time allows and remaining in touch with Murray's family. I gave a commitment to the family to get answers, Freeling said. Despite Freeling's diligence, none of Murray's classmates, a coach, or her closest friends have been willing to talk. And aside from UMass police, there has been little cooperation from the university. UMass wasn't thrilled with us being on campus, Freeling said, but she was able to get photos of her dormitory room which were shown at CrimeCon, which indicates to her that Murray had intended to return to campus. It's pretty evident that it was not a packed-up dorm room, Freeling said. So what do you think about that? The campus didn't want them there, didn't want them investigating Maura Murray's disappearance. Isn't that weird?
Didn't want the police? Or didn't want... I'm sorry. I missed that part.
Didn't want Maggie or the Oxygen Show
Oh,
investigating.
okay, got it. Yes,
I mean,
know.
don't you think they would want to cooperate and help one of their missing students be found? I mean, it's one of their students.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, and other than the two detectives speaking to the class, they didn't really seem to do anything about her disappearance. Like, you would think there'd be some activity or awareness.
I think at university, it's like they're kind of like cautious about how they're perceived, so like they'd rather, I don't know, they might do something that screws up the image of the university.
How is saying, "Oh, we hope you find her," screwing up the? I mean, it's screwing up the image not to be doing that.
Yeah, you're right. I guess at the moment they just
Well, with Freeling was there this past year.
feeling.
You don't know who Maggie Freeling?
Oh, Maggie Freeling. Yeah, sorry.
Oh. Who's James Renner?
Wait, Freeling. Because I only know her as Maggie. So like,
Okay, yeah, Maggie. So do you know who Maggie is?
yeah, Maggie.
You watched the Oxygen Show yet?
No, not yet. I only seen like a half an episode of the first one. Oh, you said yeah. That's the one.
Maybe next year. All right. Hopefully the case will be solved before we get to like episode 100 and you still haven't watched it. But I don't know. I think UMass is just a little suspect. So it was UMass police that briefed Maura's nursing class days after Maura went missing, and they told the class that her dorm room was packed like she wasn't planning on returning. So I guess that's why Pemberton is saying that, because the police told her that. But we looked at the photos. That's not what it looked like. So
Wait,
why are the UMass
Wait,
police...
How do you know that the police told her that?
I just read the article. They told the whole class. So then if they interviewed Pemberton afterwards,
Yeah.
Pemberton would be repeating what the officers had told the class.
Yeah, just to go along with it, like group thinking.
Well, she probably thought it was true.
Huh.
So the officers said that to the class, so they're making
Yeah.
everybody think that. Are they doing that on purpose, or did they...
That's a good strategy, like to do it
Yeah.
as a group, because now you're part of the group. Therefore, if you go against the group, then you're not being cooperative. And
That sounds like conspiracy talk, Maxwell. But, no. So
but it happens all the time. This
Oh,
group
yeah.
thing
Oh, yeah, of course.
strategy.
So either the officers were briefing the class what they thought to be the truth, which is her dorm room is packed and she's not coming back, or they know that it didn't look like that and they want to spin this narrative.
Yeah.
And Thrasher is one of our persons of interest. I mean, if he knew Maura, they know something, they're covering it up for whatever reason, whether they were involved or not. That would explain it as well, right?
I guess.
So, the UMass police might have been the first people in Maura's room, but I don't think they were, and I'll go into that in a little bit. So, if Thrasher... So, I mean, the plot is getting kind of thick here, because if Thrasher is involved in any way, he's in the room, he could easily have printed out the email. He could have had access to Maura's computer. He could have staged the scene any way he wanted to, right?
Yep.
So, this is weird. But supposedly if it wasn't Thrasher, it was other officers, why would they be staging it? Or were they instructed to stage it for whatever reason? So they could have theoretically printed out Billy's email, put it on the box. So the other thing is Kathleen and Billy had also been in the room. And we'll go over what they had to say about it. But one thing to take away from this whole scenario is UMass is being very secretive. So I mean, Alden Olson got a no trespassing or no
Yeah, but
trespassing.
they probably don't know shit. Like it's not that they're being secretive. They just have
Well, let
no
me
fucking
finish.
idea and they feel
Let me
weird.
finish.
Okay.
Alden Olson got a no trespassing order just for inquiring about parking. You don't think that's strange?
About what kind of parking? I don't get it.
He just asked which sticker. Do you know who Alden Olson is?
Yeah, the
Are you
crazy
sure?
dude, the crazy dude with the video.
So do you remember?
Nutritional supplements.
That's one of his crazier theories. So he showed Skinner. So he showed Skinner the photograph of Maura's parking sticker, and he asked which lot it belonged to, but it was folded, so he couldn't really see the Saturn, so he could only see the sticker,
Okay.
the parking sticker.
Okay.
And he served a no trespass order. You don't think that's being secretive on the university's part?
He served a no trespass.
He got served a no trespassing
Yes,
order by Skinner. We went over this like 50 times.
Yeah, I remember something like this. Like to Alden.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you don't think that's the university being secret? You're not even allowed to inquire about parking without being served a no trespassing order.
Well, why does he have a sticker?
What difference does it make?
Well, I'm just saying, like
He had a photograph of a sticker with a lot number, and he was just asking where the car is parked.
Yeah, but that's that's the thing that I'm. That's a good question, but why is that? Why would that be his business?
Maybe he has a kid that goes there. How would Skinner know?
Yeah, but
He's just inquiring about parking.
If I go to like any university and
I think
and
they
show
would tell you
and
where
show,
the parking.
and show them a sticker of a parking.
Oh, I'm
sticker.
sure they would tell you where.
No,
it was.
no, they won't, because
Oh,
what
I'm
if
sure they
you're
would.
what if you're stalking some dude or some girl, like you're stalking someone, like I need to know which parking lot this is so I can kill her or some shit like that.
Yeah, but I don't know where you're making that jump. I'm pretty sure that most officers or personnel at a university would just tell you which lot it is. I mean, it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, but see, that wouldn't be a concern to anyone requesting that information, because if you're a student, you would know where that is.
No,
And
he's
if you-
obviously not a student. Maybe he wants to know where his kid's parking.
But he probably never mentioned that. This is my kid, or
No,
but
why does he need to?
And even if he did mention, this is my kid goes there, and I have this sticker. Whereas this parking lot.
Okay, fine. Let's say the cop. Let's say Skinner thought he was some crazy stalker. He's really going to serve a no trespassing order? How would he even get that just for asking? I mean, how's that
Sir.
evidence of stalking?
So
How is asking which parking lot evidence of stalk? How is that sufficient enough to get any kind of no trespassing order?
So he was served a no trespassing. No
Yeah, that's
trespass
the whole
order.
point that I'm trying to make here.
Um,
UMass is really weird.
Okay. Wait. Let's think about this. If you request, like if you send a photo to a security guard or whatever, to security personnel at a university, and you're just asking, where the hell is this parked? You're just asking about a sticker.
Yeah.
Where is it parked? Like, what? Like you could have taken some. Okay, you could be at a bar from like an hour away from the university, and you saw a sticker, and you're stalking this girl, and you just took a picture of this parking sticker.
So your whole thing is it's always look at guilty until innocent, worst case scenario, and everybody should operate against that at all times.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's none of your business to freaking know where the fucking where this car is parked. Like, I don't think it's
That's fine. So if that's what I think 99.9% of anybody would say where it was parked, and I think Skinner did. I believe it was when Alden asked if you can also park. I forget. I think he answered him initially, but whatever.
Personally, for if I were security personnel and I got a photo from a complete stranger claiming, I don't care what the fuck he claims, whether it's parents or a friend.
He didn't claim anything.
Oh, okay. So and then you just let's just say you're just asking, where the hell is this parked? Why the fuck would? How come you don't know? You're the one with the fucking
Because he's
sticker.
new on campus.
Yeah, but why would you?
Maybe someone's in danger and he's trying to save their life. If only the campus police, but he's not 100% sure they're in danger, so he just wants to double check.
Are you asking like?
No, you want to bring up hypotheticals. What if Alden
Olson?
Olson is some like private detective and he's trying to save somebody? So he's trying to save somebody's life.
Wait, here's how I would take it to make this like then I would give information. Is if I see where you're coming from now. like if you're a student and you don't know where to park legally, and you don't want to get a ticket.
Or what if you just borrowed? What if you just borrowed?
Wait, hold on. This is the only reason I would give information.
Or
out
hold on,
because,
if you want to talk about that, what if Alden just borrowed somebody else's car and he doesn't have a car on campus, so he doesn't know anything about stickers. So he's trying to park his friend's car and he doesn't know what. Like, there's a million innocent reasons to ask where would you park with that sticker, and you're gonna go serve a no trespass order over that? Like, how can you justify that? There's a million innocent reasons.
So how do you give a no trespass order? Like, how do you do that?
I don't know.
Like, so he has to know. Where
I guess he got some kind of a judge or someone to authorize the no trespass order.
And that would mean that, I guess
unless he has the authority to do that himself.
So everything about Alden Olson is known because, like, for you to give an order, you have to know the address.
Okay, you're opening up another can of worms, but the point is, UMass is being very secretive. That was my point.
Okay.
They're being very strange and secretive. You don't think so, which is fine. I think they are.
Okay.
So, because they didn't want Maggie there, they didn't really raise awareness for Maura, and then the UMass police are telling the class that her dorm room is all packed up as if she's not coming back. And we're going to get into that. Not only can you look at the photos and see that doesn't look to be true, there's another detail I'm going to get into in a moment, which highly suggests that Maura was coming back.
Okay. My first impression about the photos, like, it just seemed like no one was actually living there. Like, it seemed like.
Well, remember we went into that because she wasn't sure if she was going to have a roommate or not, so she didn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So. Gotcha.
So let's get into UMass's response to Maura going missing. So this is from James Renner's book. The first on-campus article about Maura's disappearance didn't appear until February 17th. I think what I just read was from the 16th, though, so he might be off by a day. It ran under the headline, Nursing Student Missing for Days. Student reporters had spoken to the Dean of Nursing and put a time on that final email from Maura. It was sent at 1:24 p.m. on February 9th. The email stated that she was heading home for the week due to a death in the family. The Collegian ran a lengthy update on the search for Maura the following semester, which included a brief interview with Lori, Maura's mother. Older sister Kathleen was also interviewed, and the reporter asked about that disturbing phone call the night of Maura's breakdown. It was just a phone call. It made no difference to me, said Kathleen. It was just Maura calling me. That was that. I told her about my day and quarreling with my fiancé. I don't know what I could have done to upset her. Seriously, I think she just wanted to get out of work. So that's kind of interesting. So Kathleen, in this early article, is saying that Maura was basically kind of faking or exaggerating the breakdown to leave early.
That's interesting that she would say that from a sister.
Yeah. And this, keep in mind, this is very close.
You wouldn't say anything like that. It's kind of like character breaking. Do you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Wait, when did she say that? How long after did?
So this was the following semester. So within months. Relatively close. We're not talking about 10 years later, so it would still be relatively fresh in Kathleen's mind.
That's interesting.
We hadn't really looked at that, of her faking the breakdown to get out of work early, but for what purpose? Did someone call her and tell her something? I don't know. But let's get to this super important detail. This has never been discussed on the Oxygen Show or any podcast. I am going to mention it for the first time on any podcast. Are you ready, Maxwell?
Okay, what do we got?
All right.
What do we got?
So, someone on Facebook posted that their best friend lived in the dorm room right next to Maura's. And I will read their comments.
And this is where?
Facebook.
How long ago was it?
I'll tell you in a second.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so this was this past year. So someone posted, if it was fully packed, I'd say yes, because the winters at UMass are harsh, so she would have had to pack clothes to bundle up in to walk to and from classes. Southwest is huge. Coolidge is across the hall from Kennedy, but still a bit of a walk. It is normal at UMass to never let girls walk back to their dorms alone at night, no matter how close. If he walked her, he would have had to be signed in to go to her room, though.
If who walked her?
Well, she was talking about, I guess they're talking about the fire. Whatever, we're not even going to talk about that. So, here's the post. Her alarm clock was going off all morning, and my best friend lived in the room next to her and finally told the RA, who went in her room to turn it off. Shortly after, if I remember, is when they were in there going through her stuff. So, well, that's not the one she had. It was an alarm clock you had to set every night and made that wicked loud, obnoxious beeping noise until you manually shut it off. That is why my friend had to get the RA to turn it off. It was going off all day.
Okay.
So she's saying that Maura's alarm clock had to be manually set. It was the model that had to be manually set, which means that she set it the day she went missing for the following day. So that, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean she didn't leave under her own willpower, but I'm guessing, unless it was just by habit to reset it in the morning, she was planning on being at Umass on Tuesday. And then possibly her plans changed according to her own volition, or not. Either way, or I guess it's possible someone else, either UMass police or whoever was responsible for her, could have set it.
What kind of alarm clock was it?
It was one that had to be manually set for each time it went off.
Okay.
This is
Because
what this person
This
is
was
saying.
like 2003 or 4 or whatever. So like
2004. You should know the details of the
Yeah,
case
yeah.
by now, Maxwell. This is episode 18.
No, I'm just saying, like, I mean, the clock could have been like 2000 or 19.
Oh yeah, it could have been from 1980s.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't know.
So yeah, I used to have this alarm clock with the flop, like flapping numbers.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting.
So, if someone else set her alarm, why would they make it look like she was going to return the next morning? Because if they went through staging her dorm room to make it look like she packed and was not returning, it wouldn't make sense for them to include the staging of the alarm clock, correct?
Right.
So, that means it was more likely that she set the alarm herself because she was planning on having to wake up the next morning. Yes or no?
Yes, but but she left at 4:30. Like, you wouldn't really set your alarm at like 3 p.m. for the next morning.
Well, I'm saying if her habit was to set it as soon as she woke up that morning, we don't know when she would have set
Oh, I
it.
see what you mean. Like, reset the clock like
Yeah.
as soon as you turn it off.
Or depending on her lifestyle, like it seems like she didn't get a whole lot of sleep in general. She might have just set it before she left because she was planning on coming home and crashing, and she knew she would forget to set the alarm. You know,
Yeah,
like if you
I like
if you
that.
know you're gonna forget.
I like that one where you're like coming home like all messed up and like late.
Yeah, you know you're not gonna remember, so you do it during the
Yeah.
day when you do
Yeah,
remember.
because you might pass out and forget. Yeah.
Exactly. So, what does this mean? So, again, we don't know if something else happened at UMass. So, okay, that's that situation. So, let's backtrack. Let's look at the credit card fraud situation. Are you up to speed on this, Maxwell?
Somewhat like supposedly it's like some kind of like dorm group credit card thing. Like you use it to purchase things and you kind of pay at the end of the month or something like that.
No.
Wait,
she used a stolen credit card number allegedly
Oh, okay.
to order food. To order
Okay.
pizza. So, let's get into the exact details because we never went through exactly where it was used and the exact timeline. My contention is I think she admitted to it, but I'm not 100% sold that she actually did it. She might have been protecting somebody. What do you think?
Protecting someone from what?
I don't know. Or if she was involved with some drug situation and she didn't want that to overlap into whoever she was protecting. Or if she was a CI before that moment. Some people theorize that after that moment she was put on probation for this incident. She became a CI after. But what if she was a confidential informant before the fact? Because of her West Point training, they decided to recruit her before this credit card fraud incident. And she didn't want to draw attention to the main target. So anyway, let me go over this. So, Renner's blog actually has a really good account of all of this.
Get out of here. See, he went down that theory?
Which theory?
Like the CI thing?
No. He just described the credit card fraud incident.
Oh, okay, got it.
Because she had her picture taken by police officers, this whole thing. It was actually a sting operation. Like, it was a whole thing. Just for a couple bucks. But let's, I mean, the whole thing is really, really fishy, but... So supposedly the owner of the credit card filed a police report that someone used her credit card number at a pizza place. And so the police arranged this entire sting operation to catch the person. I mean, this is where taxpayer money's going. I don't even know. Like, it's bizarre. So after supposedly Maura signed for the receipt, the police went to the dorm room, and that's when they so-called caught her. So, from Renner's blog, a public records request to the Amherst Police Department found a larceny report. Credit card fraud. At the time of her disappearance, Maura was in a lot of trouble with the law. On November 3rd, 2003... On November 3rd, 2003, a Umass student contacted Amherst police. She'd checked her bank account online and had noticed charges to restaurants that she'd never been to. La Cucina di Pinocchio, otherwise known as Pinocchio's, Domino's, and Papagino's in nearby Hadley. Someone had racked up debt on her credit card, purchasing about $80 worth of pizza. So I wonder how much the sting operation cost to pay all these officers for the manpower and the time to set this whole thing up. I think it cost more than $80. But anyway, back to this. Police phoned the restaurants and asked the managers to review receipts for the nights in question. The pizzas, it turned out, were all delivered to Kennedy Hall. What the hell's wrong with you? It's like you got pneumonia every podcast we do. Start dying. Later that same night, the manager at Pinocchio's phoned Officer Carlos Rivera at the Amherst police station. A woman had just called and ordered a pizza using the stolen credit card number. Rivera told the manager to make the delivery. Rivera and another officer, David Pinkham, drove out to Kennedy Hall and waited. The pizza guy arrived. A young woman signed for the food. As soon as she handed the receipt to the driver, the policeman swooped in. It was Maura Murray. When they walked her back to her room, Pinkham told her to come clean. Maura said she got the credit card number off of Pinocchio's receipt she found on the ground. When Rivera pointed out that receipts from Pinocchio's did not include full credit card numbers, she said she must have gotten it off a receipt from a different pizza place.
Okay.
Pinkham asked Maura how she remembered the number, but Maura only looked at the ground. He told her to get whatever paper she kept the number on and give it to him. She fished through a drawer and came back with a note card that had the credit card number on it. There were other numbers on the card too, several. Maura told him they were her friend's phone numbers. Again, Pinkham asked her why she did it, but Maura wouldn't answer. He took her picture and informed her that they would need her to come into the station soon to make a statement. On November 9th, Maura sat down with Officer Rivera. From his report, Maura acknowledged she had used the credit card illegally but did not give a reason why. It is unknown how exactly the credit card number was retrieved. Rivera told Maura that she would be charged with unauthorized use of a credit card, a misdemeanor that carried the possibility of a $500 fine and up to a year in jail. That's kind of weird. Don't, like, certain murderers get off with less time than that? I mean, we're talking about $80 here. $80 worth of pizza. So, I mean, the whole thing is fishy, which is why I suspect that there's at least a possibility that she's covering for someone and she didn't do it herself. But I don't know. On December 16th, Maura went to court and was found guilty. Luckily, the judge ordered that the charge be dismissed under the condition that Maura stayed out of trouble for 6 months. Maura's record would have been wiped clean in June 2004. So here's the thing. So Renner believes that this was like the beginning of a downward spiral. So she's on probation. Once she crashes her father's car, okay, that probation is now in question. That's what causes her to flee. She'd be kicked out of the nursing program. It makes sense why Renner believes what he believes and why he came up with the tandem driver theory, Maura leaving her life, etc., etc. So what do you think about this the whole credit card incident?
I don't know. I just think, I don't know. I don't think it's any significance.
You don't think it's significant at all in the case?
I don't think it says anything. I don't know. I just think, you know, I don't know. I just don't think it's that significant.
I think it's very significant.
Okay. Why?
Well, also, she called the pizza places after... Well, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so online, there's also some people are saying that picture is not of Maura. Maura was not the one they caught with the credit card. It was her sister, possibly Julie.
That's interesting, but it's never. There was no conclusion or.
I think Julie's whereabouts were accounted for, so it wasn't her. But Maura definitely looks really weird in that picture. It doesn't really look like her at all.
You gotta post that up.
It's a couple months prior to her disappearance, but still, it doesn't look like any of her pictures. I mean, some people point to the fact that the lighting could have been weird. All mug shots look kind of weird. I mean, it's a grainy photograph in a dorm. But, yeah, I don't know. I think most likely it is her in the photo. But the strange behavior... So, Renner also alleges that she might be bulimic. And that's why she didn't want to say... And that's why she used a credit card. But she doesn't seem that broke. Like, if she's got hundreds of dollars in her account, I mean... Or doing these pizza binge orders, like, unless you... Again, if this has something to do with drugs, and then if the pizza delivery guy is also a drug carrier, there's something more going on here. We don't know. But I think it could possibly be very, very critical detail.
Okay.
So, once again, we don't know the exact scenario. So, in college, it is kind of, I mean, it happens on college campuses where kids kind of just pass around a credit card number. Like, it was on a note card. Maura might not have been the only one using it. There might have been other... We really don't know all the details of the situation. I do find it strange that they do a whole sting operation for $80. I mean, I don't know if that's how it's normally done. Normally, you just complain to the credit card company, that wasn't you.
There was a sting operation.
I just explained it for the past half hour.
Yeah, but like a sting operation, like it seems like
The police officers were lying in wait.
When
The police officers were lying in wait, so the manager called them and told them that person ordered. And then they followed that person to the dorm to see who would sign. And when it was Maura, this whole thing went down.
So she was arrested then.
Did you not pay attention to anything I said?
Wait, oh yeah, that's right. She was arrested because I remember.
She wasn't
that picture
arrested. She wasn't.
I remember that photo against the wall.
Yeah, that's what I just said. It was in the dorm, and they told her she would have to go down to the police station for a statement, but not at that. Like, they didn't arrest her.
Why not?
I don't know. But Maxwell, usually when there's a fraudulent charge on your credit card, especially if it's only like $80 or whatever, they cancel the charge. They issue you a new credit card. Like, they don't usually involve officers and manpower and communication with managers and sting operations for $80. You don't find that strange?
That is kind of strange because, yeah.
Everything is strange in this case. It's just really, really weird. So, again, I think it's at the very least a possibility that Maura is covering for somebody else. Or someone else, for whatever reason, tricked her into admitting it or threatened her because they didn't want to get caught or whatever. We don't know. So there's a lot of unanswered questions. So she continued to call that pizza place after the incident. Don't you find that strange? I mean, there's other pizza places around.
Yeah.
So she might have known someone there, obviously, and she called after hours. So, you know what would be really bizarre? I mean, this is going out there. If we go with one of Alden Olson's, like, genetic cloning theories, if they cloned her or someone who looks like her, that's what the mugshot is of. That's who was up there in New Hampshire. And what happened to the real Maura, we don't know.
Didn't he back that up? You said, didn't he back that up?
There was a lot of certain companies involved and people in those companies. Yeah, he did a lot of homework.
That's crazy.
So, okay. Other people speculate that if she became a CI because of this credit card fraud incident, other officers would have known her, and that's why she was let off the hook at the Hadley accident, where she might have been driving drunk. We covered this extensively in the previous episode, remember?
Okay.
Do you remember?
Sort of.
Okay, let's re-examine the pizza place and the possible drug connections. So, is there a connection between the pizza place that she was ordering from with the stolen credit card? So, there was a drug distribution system. So, other pizza places have actually gotten busted for also serving as drug carriers. So, this is an actual thing. This has precedent. So some speculation is the strange phone activity. She called the Domino's on February 4th. So this is the Wednesday before her breakdown. So this is the night before her breakdown. How many coincidences are you willing to accept, Maxwell?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
All of this is happening within days. So the day before the breakdown. So she's working Thursday night into early Friday morning. The night before that, Wednesday, February 4th, she calls Domino's at midnight, talks to someone for 5 minutes, calls back 10 minutes later, talks to someone for 3 minutes. Is this a mix-up order? Is this an order adjustment? Or is she talking to someone she knows about some kind of other situation? She also called... Okay, here's where it gets really crazy. 3:40 a.m. Friday morning. This is right after the breakdown. This is several hours after the breakdown. 3:40 to 3:42 a.m. This is February 6th. She called this Domino's Pizza. Supposedly it closes at like 3 a.m. So she's calling 40 minutes after close time. What do you think about this, Maxwell? This is the night of the breakdown.
I don't know what to think. Then I don't know, I don't know.
Are you willing to say that this is all unconnected? Or are you saying there's a connection? It seems like all this has to be connected. How could it all be random?
Right now I'm hearing Domino's ordering, okay? I don't know how...
Well, we don't know if she ordered, because if she's talking to someone she knows there... On one of the first episodes, we actually speculated that someone borrowed her car for some reason and hit Patrick Vassi. And that's why she was calling that place so many times.
I don't know the significance yet. I kind of have to listen more. I mean, I don't know. It's just...
But it doesn't strike you as odd behavior?
Which part? The...
Calling Domino's 40 minutes after close on the night of your breakdown.
No, because when you're upset, girls eat pizza and ice cream.
Interesting comments from Maxwell. Very interesting comments. Okay, so we talked about this before too. There were drug rings busted at Umass. Some people think the hit and run activity was somehow connected to the drug ring. All of this is connected. And then we also talked about Whitey Bulger and his brother, the dean of Umass. Remember?
Not really, but...
So we have all this activity going on at UMass. Is it all connected? Oh, it's rough because it seems like when you have enough information, things aren't coincidences. They might not be what you think they are. They might not be connected to what you think they're connected, but they're connected to something. So there has to be some kind of meaning or significance. Let's go into something we never really talked about too much, the accident forms. So the insurance accident forms after the Hadley crash of Fred's Corolla. Do you remember that we didn't talk about that too much?
Which one? The Corolla?
The accident forms?
I don't remember the accident forms.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We actually didn't really talk about it that much, so it would make sense. It finally makes sense that you wouldn't remember something.
Wait, so you're saying the accident forms has significance in what you're about to say?
It might. So because we don't know exactly what happened with the accident forms, because where did she pick up the accident forms from? If it was a DMV or police station, wouldn't there be a video?
Maybe.
Well, they have video. They have security cameras. So and we don't know where she would have picked it up. So on Sunday night, Fred, when she talked to Fred, he told her to pick up the forms on Monday morning.
Wait, who told who to pick up forms?
Maura spoke to Fred on the phone Sunday evening.
Okay.
He told her to pick up the accident forms for the insurance company because she crashed his car on Saturday.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot it was the Corolla.
That Fred had the Corolla. Did you remember that Maura has a Saturn?
yeah, I remember that.
Oh wow, I'm impressed.
I just remembered that she crashed her father's car first and then her own car, or well, if that was her.
Well, if that was her, we don't know that she did any crash. Who knows? We don't know that she was driving during the Corolla crash.
We don't even know if the Corolla thing is true or not, like if it was her or not.
Well, the car was totaled, but how do we know she was driving?
I don't know.
She said she was, but what if she was covering for the cadet or whoever else was there?
Yeah.
So we really don't know. So Fred told her to pick up the forms on Monday morning. So here's the weird thing. if he's telling her to pick up forms, how is she going to pick up the forms? Is she going to take the Saturn that Fred said wasn't drivable?
That's interesting. Because that would be... Okay, that's interesting. Well, it depends on how close. I mean, if she's a runner or whatever, get in shape. I don't know.
I guess, but at this time she's no longer running track. Supposedly she had a knee injury. Maybe not. We'll talk about that.
Does she have a bike? It depends on how close it is. If it's
I
only 5
haven't heard
miles-
any mention of a bicycle. Unless he said somebody would give her a ride. We don't really know the details of the conversation.
I'm
but-
sure she's resourceful enough to get rides.
Or the Saturn is not in as bad shape as they all think. I don't know. It's just strange. I really don't know. So here's what's weird. If she did pick up the forms at a police station, they would know. Somebody would remember seeing her, especially after all the missing posters. Like, there would be so many missing posters in the police stations in the weeks and months after.
Okay.
They would have known which station she was at and picked it up. Unless they do know and they're not saying for whatever reason. Because maybe it was at a police station she couldn't have been at based on the current timeline.
What do you say? No one knows that if she picked it up or not? What do you
It's
say?
never been revealed that she's picked any forms up at a police station.
But did she
The
have-
forms
did
were
she have-
found. The forms were found in her car when in the Saturn. They were found in the Saturn.
And what's... Okay, so what's the significance of that?
Where did she get them?
So, yeah, but why is that important? Who cares
Because
if she...
because that would tell us where she was. If she drove up to New Hampshire and she stopped at some police station to pick up the accident forms, it would establish a timeline. We don't have a timeline. We don't have her leaving Massachusetts.
So, okay, the Corolla accident, where did it happen?
In Hadley, pretty close to Umass. It's right next to Amherst.
Okay, so then the police station there would, like, it's not gonna be in freaking California.
Well, they're blank accident forms, so you can fill them out. You can pick them up at any police station or DMV, supposedly.
So,
I'm guessing it should have been Massachusetts because different states might have slightly different forms.
wait, when you say... Okay,
They're
so,
blank accident forms
Okay, so...
that the insurance company needs for claims.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it.
So we did talk about this. So supposedly she could have printed them out online,
Okay.
which would make sense. So the police do have her browser history so they could verify this, but they have not. They have not verified that she had printed it out online. They did say she looked up these search directions.
So do they still have her browser history?
I mean, they have copies of something somewhere because they said she looked up directions to all these places. Burlington, Bartlett, like Stowe. Like she researched where to stay that. That's what they said. We don't know if it was her using the computer. But
That's
they
very
could have.
interesting. I mean, if she contacted someone like from like a dating site or something, or like MySpace or something, and she wanted to meet up, they would know that already.
Yes. If they, I mean, they have her search directions, so unless they made
Unless
those over
they're
the
hiding.
printout, unless those were printouts, I don't know. They do have her computer though, so
Okay.
unless this was the most incompetent operation ever, I mean, they would have to. They would have to. The question is, if this whole thing was staged, someone else could have used her computer and done all of the history.
That's interesting. So they still have her computer.
I believe so, yeah. So I think they actually gave it back to the family and then took it back again. And actually, you know what? I think Tim Carpenter might have had the stuff and he burned it. Isn't that weird?
It's a little weird.
All right, so anyway, let's move on. Well, one quick more point. So the 11:26 p.m. phone call when he told her that the insurance would cover the accident, he suggested that she get the forms from the Registry of Motor Vehicles and not a police department. So she might have gotten it at the Registry of Motor Vehicles. And if the forms were close to, let's say, the entrance where all the paperwork is, she could have just got in, took the papers, and left real quick. We wouldn't really know, but the security camera should have still picked her up. The other interesting, one more point about the forms. Why would she even pick up the forms if she was planning on leaving and not coming back? How would she get them to Fred?
So that's further proof that she didn't plan on.
Well, you can't ignore that information unless she made the decision to leave after she got the forms. And the forms were still in her car, so we're still stuck a little bit. Because if there was another impetus that happened on that Monday, like probably after going to the liquor store. I mean, we don't know. We really don't know. But it's all very
James
strange.
Renner knows all this, right?
Knows what?
No, like all this information that we're talking about.
A lot of it, I don't know. I mean, what information specifically? The forms?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Cause like,
I mean, he knows
'cause that,
most of it, yeah, I would
I mean,
think.
he believed for a long time, and I believe that he still believes that she's still alive, right? Or do you-
No, I believe his new theory is that she was killed by a local.
Oh, no kidding.
No longer the tandem driver theory.
And he never wrote about it.
What?
That he thinks that it's a local that killed.
Yeah, on his blog, before he shut it down.
Like, was it like a paragraph and shit?
It was a number of posts, and then I believe he also said it during several interviews and appearances he made after the fact that he no longer. I mean, he still thinks. I don't know whatever his percentage is. He adjusted the percentages. I think he thinks like 70% she's dead, 30% tandem driver still alive.
That's a big turnaround. I'm just saying, like.
Well, it's not like he thinks 90%. He's
Yeah,
still.
yeah. Okay, got it.
He didn't switch a lot.
Okay, but it's still just to entertain the possibility.
Well, he always
It's
entertained
big.
it. He always entertained it.
Okay. Oh, so he's pretty good there. He's not like dogmatic about it.
Well, he's dogmatic. He said there's no chance there was any law enforcement involvement. He doesn't think the law enforcement conspiracy theory should be even entertained. He said it's complete nonsense.
Oh,
and
okay,
possibility.
okay, got it. So he's not. So he's dogmatic on some aspects.
Right.
Of the theories. Yeah. Okay.
So, once again, he might just be doing that for the PC angle, and not because he really believes it.
What's PC again?
Politically correct.
Oh, political. Okay.
Oh man.
Does everyone know PC? Because like
Yes.
I don't care. Like
Non-PC.
really, people use that all the time.
Yeah.
PC. Okay, got it.
All right, let's quick go over something that also isn't talked about too much. Why did Maura quit the Umass track team? Because she was the superstar from West Point.
People get tired. I don't know, man. Just like some of the best athletes always quit.
All right, so let's see what. So Kate Markopoulos said that Maura left the track team due to a conflict with her nursing practical scheduling.
Okay.
Okay, Haas said it was due to an injury. So that's pretty interesting, isn't it? They're giving different answers.
Haas is the assistant guy.
That she had a relationship with, yes, the year
Yeah.
prior.
Haas said that it was an injury.
Yes, and Kate Markopoulos said that it was a conflict with her nursing program schedule.
All right. Well, different
Wouldn't
conversations.
Kate?
No,
Yeah,
that's
but wouldn't
fine, that's
Kate?
fine. I
No,
can
but
see- I
wouldn't
can see
Kate know? No, that's fine. But wouldn't Kate know if there was an injury? That was her friend. She would.
Yeah, that was her best friend. Yeah, that was her best friend.
So
Or supposedly.
yeah.
Best friend, yeah.
Well, that was probably her closest friend at UMass.
Yeah. Okay.
So she wouldn't tell her that she had an injury.
Well, maybe she did know. She just prioritized the nursing student. No, because you can have the same conversation, like a friend. Do you know what I mean? Like you can have the same conversation, and the nursing program didn't
All
come
right,
up.
so-
but it would come up at a certain time, and she gauged her emotions and decided it was because of the nursing program.
She could have said it takes 2 seconds to say, well, scheduling, and she also had a knee thing.
I mean, no, because like she could have observed Maura, because Maura's probably like, I don't know, like she just observed Maura's state, and she was just like, this nursing program's getting in the way or some shit like that.
Well, she said it definitively, pretty much. I mean, that's what's been alleged. She could have just said, oh, and she also had a knee thing. So it takes 3 seconds to say that.
Okay.
So anyway, here's what I floated, this idea, and I think it's highly likely she quit because of dating Haas. If she had previously dated the assistant coach, then she'd get back to Billy, and Haas said she just stopped responding to him in his emails. Why would she go back where he's the assistant coach?
Were they, was she still, like, when she was dating Haas, like, was she still with Billy Roush?
No. Don't you pay attention?
I don't,
Axel?
yeah, but I don't remember the time.
She was on break from Billy Roush.
Oh, okay, the
They
break.
had
I
some
remember,
kind
got
of
it, got it.
yeah, they had some kind of rift, and so while she was on break with Billy, this was the year prior, spring through summer, or late spring through summer.
Okay.
So
And then she got back with Billy.
right after the summer,
Like, and it's 6 months or something. So like, how long did the Haas?
couple
thing-
months. I
That's
don't
it?
think they have exact dates. So the summer and possibly a few
shit.
months of the spring.
Huh.
So not super long, and then supposedly in September she got back with Billy, and that's it. So she wouldn't. Why would she do track again if Haas is there? Although the nursing schedule is pretty intense, so I don't know. But it seems kind of weird that she would go run track again with Haas there, right?
I see what you mean. The awkward, the awkward situation.
Well, I mean, I'll even throw this in there. What if there was something weird going on with Kate Markopoulos as well. We don't know their friend situation. So if Kate is a big time runner on the team as well, if Maura doesn't want to have anything to do with her or Haas anymore, although Kate, I mean, obviously she was in touch.
Do you think they had a falling out, Kate? I don't remember the situation, but were they still like tight?
Well, we don't know. So Kate did go to eat with Maura and Fred that Saturday before the party. So they couldn't have been that on the outs unless it was kind of a back and forth thing where there could have been a situation prior. Maybe they patched it up, but who knows? So we really don't know the real reason she quit the UMass track team, but it's an interesting point.
I want to interview her.
All right, so let's go back to the dorm room. We're jumping around a little bit. But so Kathleen and Tim Carpenter also actually were in the room. They might have been one of the first people to see the room.
What room?
Maura's dorm room.
Okay, got it.
And then Billy saw the room as well. So, real quick though, so whether she packed up the room or not, she said she was going home for the death in the family. Alright, so here's an interesting point. I believe Renner broke this information. This is pretty new information. Maura had applied to bartending positions near Hanson, her hometown, which is not super close to UMass, several weeks before her disappearance. So, is she planning to drop out of UMass even before all this goes down? Or is she simply applying for bartender positions for the summer? If she's planning to be at Hanson, we don't know. But this is a detail that hasn't really been talked about before either.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
About what?
What I just said.
I forgot what you said.
I just said it a second ago.
I missed it.
Moore applied for bartending positions near
okay.
her hometown.
Okay.
So is she does that suggest that she's planning to drop out of UMass, or could that just possibly suggest that it's a summer bartending position, or she's just taking a semester off or something?
She needs a job to buy her liquor and like to party and I don't know. Or to take care of herself. She needs to be more independent. No big deal.
Okay, so you don't make much of it.
At that age, like you wanna get jobs all the time and support yourself.
Okay, so the email to the professors. So did Maura really send that email?
Oh, the
death in the family email. So how can you prove that she sent it?
You know it's weird because a lot of people said family and friends is that it's out of character, right?
What is out of character?
The lying to the
Yes.
because, right? It was
Yes.
It's not like her, that kind of thing.
Correct.
That's very interesting. So unless something really fucked up is happening to her, she would do that.
Agreed.
To get away from something or to.
It would have to be
deceive.
extreme. Agreed.
It would be extreme.
Or she's not the one doing the lying.
Or yes, or someone hacked her computer or like got onto her computer to do what do you call it, like a red herring or something. Stage something, whatever.
So here's the thing. So she sent out one email, and I think it was CC'd. So nursing faculty and work supervisors. So this email was never actually released. So it either said family emergency or death in the family. And I think the dean of nursing was the one who mentioned the death in the family being in the email when interviewed. And this was several days after Maura went missing. And I think Lieutenant Scarinza was the one who said it was a family emergency. So I think he said family emergency, and then Eileen Breslin, the nursing dean, said it was death in the family. So those are the two conflicting reports. So here's the thing. What if Maura really was planning to run away that Monday, but she never made it out of Amherst? Because the reason she was trying to run away, people involved, they prevented her from doing something. They prevented her from doing so. So whatever nefarious actions, they kidnapped her, they killed her, whatever it was, she was planning to run. So some of these actions could have been hers. Maybe she did do the searches, maybe she did send the email. But then she was stopped by someone else, and they were aware that she did that, or not aware, and they kind of just ran with it. Because if she's going up into the woods to be suicidal, that kind of works for them, because then nobody's looking for them, right?
Right.
Here's the weird thing. So, going back to the Corolla crash on Saturday night, if she was running away from someone, if this all started then, the night of the party, or even beforehand, if this was connected to the breakdown at work, there's some information here where someone might be after Maura for knowing something, or maybe they confided in her So now she knows something illegal that she doesn't want to. Maybe she tells Julie. Maybe that's what Julie knows that she doesn't want to say because it's not going to help for whatever reason, or she thinks it's not going to help. There's something that she knows, and then she was silenced for whatever reason, and this whole cover-up is ensuing. Maybe the cadet is involved, and she was running from the cadet. We mentioned this in the previous episode. So there's quite a few different possible scenarios where people could be after her, and she doesn't make it out of Amherst. So maybe she even planned on using Fred's Corolla to get out of town that night that the crash happened. We also don't know the details of the crash. What if someone else caused her to crash? She could have been running from somebody. We really don't know any of this information. So there's also an hour missing from when Maura left the party and the accident in Hadley that occurred at 3:33 a.m. allegedly. So it's kind of weird. There's an hour missing from both the New Hampshire crash site and the Amherst crash site. Talk about coincidence. What do you think about that, Maxwell?
There's a what? There's a what? No, say it again.
There's an hour missing from when she left the party to that crash, and there's also an hour missing. We don't know what she was doing if she went up to New Hampshire for the North Haverhill accident. There's an hour missing in both accidents. Are we chalking this up to an... We could do a whole podcast just on coincidence.
Yeah, but like when you say an hour missing, like how do you determine the hour?
It doesn't
missing?
take that long to get there. And there's no evidence that she stopped anywhere else. I mean, she could have. We don't know, and that adds even more to the mystery. If she stopped somewhere else after leaving the party before the accident at Hadley, where did she stop? If she stopped somewhere else before the weathered barn corner, where did she stop? I mean, there might not really be an hour missing, because if she left the party around 2:30 a.m. and she got into the Hadley accident within 10-15 minutes after that, there could have been a lot of standing around not knowing what to do, figuring out an explanation for the situation or a cover for the situation before the police were called. So that could be where that missing time is.
Okay.
And some people think that's what happened in New Hampshire as well. The accident happened a lot earlier, and then the car was either being towed or staged in a different way, and that's where that time went.
Okay.
So here's what somebody else pointed out. The exact moment she was choosing to leave town. If you believe it had something to do with Fred, the searches on her computer for the directions to all these different places in New Hampshire and Vermont happened within an hour of speaking to Fred on the phone on Sunday. So if Fred really yelled at her that badly over the accident on Saturday, and that caused her to want to run, if she was the one who made the searches on the computer, that would be that situation.
Okay, so what do you want me to say about that?
Well, do you think? Well, what do you think's more likely? That there's some other situation to account for all these other coincidences, or that Fred is really mad and disappointed in her, and that's when she chooses she wants to leave after that conversation with him on Sunday night? Which do you think's more likely?
That she left? I don't know.
Wait.
No, because the way I've tried to, like, what's most likely that he was so mad that she decided to leave, or what was the other one?
All these other circumstances with CIs, conspiracies with cadets, Umass weirdness.
I think the more likely is the dad, like getting her off.
Or are both true?
Oh, that's true too.
Because it have to be something extreme to cause all this.
Yeah, I don't know about the CI thing. I don't know. That's the drug thing, the CI.
Well, we don't know what it's relating to this year. It could be drugs, yes.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I mean, there have been drug busts in her dorm. So, like,
Really?
I mean, some of them were huge, yeah.
Really? Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here. So
We already talked about this. We already talked about this, Maxwell.
Wait, I don't remember that. I don't remember that detail. How many drug busts?
One or two. I think one was big, one was small. I don't remember.
Now that makes a lot more sense. So you're like, okay, I get it. There's some
Yeah.
background on that.
Yeah.
So she could be part of it. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Or she knows the people involved and she's not directly part of it.
And she's covering up.
I mean,
and
maybe
shit
one
like
of her friends that nobody knows she had, the pizza guy, who knows? Somebody's
that.
involved.
What kind of drug busts were these? Like, were these like? I want to hear more.
Okay, so it was actually just the year before, March 2003, there was a $24,000 drug bust at Kennedy Hall.
So wait, same
So
building.
Maura was there at the time. Was at UMass that year. That was her first year at UMass.
So she was like probably hanging out trying to study in her
So
dorm
she
room.
probably did know some of the people involved. That's a big drug bust. $25,000 worth of drugs. I mean, $24,000 worth of
That's
drugs.
awesome. So there were arrests then. And
It was a
people
raid. Yeah, it was a whole bust. Yeah.
I wonder how many people were arrested.
And getting the names of those people to see if any of them knew Maura, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
That would be very interesting. How come we never did that?
That's tough to do, especially if some of these were. I mean, we don't know.
We should get right to that. We should research all these names. Huh.
There's also one more part that we didn't talk about too much. Why would Maura even need Fred's Corolla for a dorm party at Umass? Unless Fred drank so much that they needed to drop him off at his hotel because he couldn't drive the Corolla back to the hotel.
Wait, what's your question?
Why does Maura even have Fred's Corolla? Why would she need it to go around campus? She doesn't need it.
Oh,
She
yeah,
doesn't
'cause
even
has
drive.
this- 'cause
But
she
she,
has-
yeah, but she doesn't even drive the Saturn because if she needs to go from one job to the other, and she gets rides from other people to clinicals for the nursing program, so she doesn't even need to use her. Why does she even have Fred's Corolla?
I don't know.
Unless, like I said, if he's possibly that drunk that he can't drive back to his hotel, they drive him to the hotel.
Wait, is Fred a drunk?
I don't know. I wouldn't say he is or he isn't. I don't know, but it's just a little strange. So, okay, while we're backtracking what happened in the months leading up to, so James Renner also found out this piece of information that we will go over. So, Maura called a child abuse caseworker on January 24th.
Who called this?
Maura. In her
Really?
phone records is a call to a child abuse. So this is from Renner's blog.
Child abuse.
Yeah.
You think it's about her and Dad?
Let me read from Renner's blog and then we'll go over it. So, a search last month of Maura Murray's final cell phone calls revealed 2 separate calls to the home of a woman who investigated child abuse claims in the Weymouth area. The woman still lives there, and though she doesn't remember Maura, she believes the only reason she would have called their home is related to one of her investigations. She sometimes gave her personal number to children. She was no longer a social worker in 2004, but was actively investigating cases in the neighborhood when Maura was a teenager. In light of this, I wanted to take a fresh look at the rest of Maura's calls in the weeks leading to a disappearance. I asked a frequent reader, one of the irregulars, to research and backtrack every number. She prefers to go by Mara S. Walker. Here are her findings. Break down Maura's cell phone records. First and foremost, thank you to James, as well as such an incredibly loyal following, for allowing me to step in and guest blog. Helping to solve this case and provide answers for the Murray family has always been my goal, and using my talents in research and a background in forensics makes me fortunate enough to be able to hopefully contribute to finding Maura and bringing her home. Lucky for me, I was able to obtain the phone numbers through legal means of each close family member and confidant relevant to the case and in Maura's life. Going through the pages, able to eliminate the contact info of those closest to her, I was able to list numbers and check each individually for any usable trace information. I will not spend time here listing each individual call, but rather the anomalies I found while background checking the flagged calls that stood out. Please note, if particular calls are not mentioned, it is because they are correctly identified and as far as I could confirm, and thus require no further discussion on my end. Call number 11 is tied to a name in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Last name McDonald. Does that sound familiar, Maxwell?
It sounds familiar. I had breakfast there a few months ago, but I don't know who
The
was
McDonalds are, of course, the West Point professor that Billy called, and who also showed up in Haverhill to start interviewing the neighbors. Very suspicious. And then McDonald is Billy's only alibi in where he was searching for Maura in the weeks after her disappearance.
Only alibi?
Yeah, we don't know where Billy was. He was all over the place. We've talked about this many times, Maxwell. So, this last name, McDonald, it's a popular last name. Again, could just be a coincidence, like all these other things. It is a Verizon-dedicated New England number, and this is good news as the carrier tends to keep cell phone records for many, many years, which I know from personal experience. Said individual lists on multiple sites, apparently has a record with local police based in Manomet, Massachusetts, which is an area of Plymouth, for somewhat odd behavior. I guess she's alleging he's a criminal of some kind. Now, if this person has been in possession of this number since the time frame of Maura's disappearance, it would be interesting to find out why this individual was called by her and what he remembers regarding any communication with her. Call 82 is based in Holyoke, Massachusetts, which is in the western part of the state above Chicopee, just below Amherst, where Umass is located. A search on Facebook confirmed there was a person listed from Holyoke matching the name noted on the bill. He appears, if I'm looking at the right person, to be of similar age of Maura, and by his profile picture also enjoys outdoor recreation such as skiing, which is relevant when you think about how many ski resorts were in the area where Maura crashed, as well as around where she was allegedly headed by her family and the police. So here's another possible person that she might have been going up to New Hampshire with. We don't know. As far as I know, these people have never been interviewed. Those were the two major red flag items for me, as the others all appear to be relatively normal, both for her calling patterns as well as when you think about who was in her life at the time that we are aware of. For example, there is 142, which is a Fort Sill number, and makes sense when you know Bill, her boyfriend, worked for them. Also, toward the end of their bill, it appears there are a few calls on the day she's disappeared, and they have numbers outgoing to Umass student voicemails. So I guess she left voicemails for multiple students? I would then assume she was calling the friend whose scrubs she ended up dropping off before leaving. Okay. I cannot tell anyone what to derive from those records or from my information. All I hope to do is by pointing out these odd interactions is maybe jogging someone's memory regarding relationships, even of the casual nature in her life, that may lead to opening more doors toward an answer and closing more doors behind us, always moving forward. So there's a whole bunch of speculation regarding these calls. So who she spoke to, who owned the number, who owned the house, we really don't know too much. But if Maura's looking for another car, I mean, she could be calling for a vehicle, she could be calling for a vacation rental, or she just could be calling someone she knew or someone who gave her the number to call to set up some kind of whatever. We don't know. Something to do with nursing. She could have been doing something for her nursing class. It's strange. It's strange. So one other theory that we didn't talk about is, so do you know what the House of Ruth is?
No.
So it's basically kind of like an underground railroad for abused women. So if they want to escape their life because of men in their life, or and they can't do it by other means, they just need to immediately disappear.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's organizations that help women do that.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this. That's kind of cool. I like that.
So we never really discussed that theory.
Oh, okay.
Now is the time, Maxwell.
I like that.
Some people think there might have been some
new
connection
theories.
in Haverhill, because some people from Haverhill actually were from Maura's hometown.
Wait, hold on.
So if someone from Maura's hometown actually knew these people, part of this organization, she could have been calling them to get more info. And that's why she went up there, and then they just staged the car accident to make it look like a suicide while she ran away.
Damn, I like this theory. This is a cool theory. Wait, but by the way, that's their MO though? Like, it completely disappear? Like,
Some of these organizations do it that way, yes. No trace.
completely disappear.
No trace.
So it's
Social
kinda like-
security number gets switched, everything.
So you're saying they're doing kind of like, what do you call it? The government, the witness, what do you call it?
Underground Railroad?
No, the witness.
Witness protection
Yeah,
program?
it's kind of like that, but just
sort of.
but just
Independent,
not-
an independent
an
organization.
independent witness protection program.
Yeah. So like new social security number, new identity, completely
Dude,
disappear off the radar.
that's amazing, but they're just doing it like, I guess, illegally. I don't know, like,
I suppose it would technically be illegal, but
yeah, because you're doing a complete identity and like you're disappearing somewhere. I don't know if that's
yeah.
kind of like that.
Or even faking their death or suicide or runaway, whatever. I guess that's fraud, but
That's the coolest theory. That's the coolest theory, and it would make a great movie. I think we can make a good movie about this.
so that's your new. Is this your new number one theory, Maxwell?
Well, I like it. I just enjoy the theory. I like.
Is that your new highest? Is that it would explain why she's calling people from her hometown, because if she trusts these people, like this child abuse worker, that might have nothing to do with their child abuse. It just could be someone Maura knows.
Well, I kind of like this. Well, it has some credence because she's calling that number.
But we don't know if this person is involved in this. I'm just floating this theory.
Well, no, but she said you said that there's a number that she had called.
A
and it
child
was,
abuse worker. I'm just theorizing that this child abuse worker might know someone.
No, but nevertheless, it doesn't matter. She was involved with a child abuse thing. I don't know. I just think
Someone who used to work that might have known people in this type of
yeah.
deal. I mean, it's all speculation. There's no
Well,
proof.
for her to call a child abuse worker.
Well, like I said, it could have been something for an assignment in medical in her nursing program.
I like that. Like an assignment.
I mean, there's a lot of
So
explanations since we don't.
she could have been doing research on child abuse.
Exactly, and she'd rather talk to someone she knows. So
Well, she knew her.
this is from her neighborhood, yeah.
So they
Max, so
know-
this is the whole point. If she trusts the
Oh,
people in
shit.
her neighborhood, or in the whatever, or for her father, she lived there, her father's neighborhood, whatever, where they lived for a period of time. If she trusts these people and they know someone in this type of Underground Railroad for Women organization, and there's people that specifically moved to North Haverhill, like even let's say Butch Atwood, if he is Butch Atwood involved in this, because he's from Taunton, where Maura's cousins are from.
Okay. Well, I
Does
reach-
this tie everything
Well,
together?
I retract as far as like the credence and credibility, but I just think the theory is kind of cool. Like, you know
All
what I
right,
mean?
so,
Like, it's like
yeah.
a movie plot.
Let's examine the social security number possibility that she's using someone else's social security number. So once again, from Renner's book, the idea of Maura borrowing, in quotations, someone's social security number is intriguing. When my private investigator friend ran Maura's background, he discovered that another social security number was somehow connected to her identity for a short time. It linked back to a woman named Lori, who still lives in Hanson, a few streets from where Maura grew up. I could never find a direct connection between Lori and Maura, but Maura does have a history of using someone else's name and identity, at least to steal food, I wonder. This is from Renner's book. Once again, I don't think it's a fact that she stole she used that credit card number and she stole. And even the West Point, I dispute the fact that she was stealing from the gift shop at Fort Knox, and I will get into that.
I didn't even know about that.
Well, that's why she was asked to leave West Point, supposedly.
Get the fuck out of here. Really?
Have you been paying attention at all?
Wait,
Max?
no, wait. I don't know about the. That's
So
why
did you know she went to West Point?
Yeah, I did know.
Maybe our next episode will be on
But-
West
but
Point.
I wasn't really sure why she left. I didn't know why she left.
Supposedly it was violations of the honor code, and supposedly that's so. Someone from West Point said it was because she was stealing from a gift shop in Fort Knox.
Yeah, but if that is true, then how did she get into UMass? Well, UMass would never accept someone like that.
Because she left voluntarily. She was asked to leave West Point
Oh, alright.
to not make it a big deal.
Ah, I like that.
But was there another reason? We will get into that in the future. Anyway,
I
I'm
like
just
that. I
saying.
like that. We can do like a West
I'm
Point,
just saying. I'm not willing to say it's a fact that Maura is a thief, or that Maura is dishonorable. From everything we've seen, especially if there's all these weird, strange things going on, she could be a really good person covering for someone else. So this is not proof of her illegal actions in any way. So, okay, let's move on to the big shebang. The Thursday night breakdown at work, and there is something big. There is something major that we have to mention.
Are we going to talk about the interview with that supervisor?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to talk about something
and-
she omitted, either on purpose or by accident, but it changes everything.
The admission.
Yes.
Huh.
All right, so
Wait, how do you know about this admission?
how do I know anything, Maxwell?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. Just
All right, so in reading quotes from Karen Mayotte, Maura's work supervisor, on the night of the hit and run, Karen mentions that another supervisor alerted her that Maura was upset. So Karen supposedly met this supervisor at the Southwest dorms while she was eating. The other supervisor said, quote, "Something's up with Maura." So, I believe Renner has identified this supervisor, and I will name him in a minute. So, basically, Maura's job was checking IDs in the dorm.
oh yeah, that's right.
Her security job, yes. So here's what's strange, even before we get into this. If this other supervisor knew somehow that something was up with Maura, how come that supervisor didn't talk to Maura? How come that supervisor went to get Karen, and then Karen unspecified amount of time later went to Maura. Because if Maura was sitting around in a catatonic state, not checking anybody's IDs, she's not doing her job. I mean, that's basically a fireable offense. And this isn't addressed immediately. This is casually addressed in an eatery. The whole story's fishy from the get-go. So, in her recent interview on the Missing Maura Murray podcast, she stated she offered to take Maura to Dunkin' Donuts to talk and make her feel better. So this is new information now. Maura declined and also stated, I have a big test tomorrow. So she was not completely catatonic. She was at least making up excuses not to go or whatever, something was bothering her. So she had enough wherewithal to say that. So that's something extra. So Karen also said that she grabbed Maura's backpack and other belongings and walked her back to the lobby of her dorm because college rules prevent faculty from entering the dorms. So, and Maura was too catatonic to even swipe her ID to get into the dorms. So she had to do it for her. And yet she's saying, oh no, I have a big test tomorrow, so I can't go eat and talk. What do you think of that, Maxwell?
It's okay.
Or is Karen misremembering?
I don't know.
Do you know anything, Maxwell?
I don't know.
Okay, so Karen said she was nervous about leaving Maura alone, and then Maura also said, it's okay, I have a roommate.
Okay.
She doesn't have a roommate.
Oh, that's messed up.
I know, we actually did mention this once before, but we didn't mention the big test tomorrow. That was new. So she's saying she has a big test tomorrow, and she has her roommate when she doesn't. So if Karen... No, we have to take Karen's word for all this, because how is any of this proved? So if Karen is in on whatever, or was instructed to say whatever by whoever...
Maybe she discovered that she's getting a roommate, so she says she has a roommate.
At that moment, Karen doesn't want to leave her alone. There is no roommate at that moment. If there was going to be a roommate next week, even if that's true, and even if Maura said that...
Karen is a coworker, right?
She's a supervisor.
Okay.
She said she was nervous about leaving Maura alone. Maura said, I have a roommate at that moment. She did not have a roommate
Because of the
moment.
breakdown.
Yes. She's escorting her back to her dorm.
Okay.
Okay, so another interesting point is Karen said she always had a textbook with her, so she definitely took her studies seriously, and there's textbooks were in her car when she left, so she was planning on studying wherever she left, unless someone else put the textbook in there. So, also interesting, she said she always had a textbook while working, so when she wasn't checking the IDs, she was still looking in her textbook. She was a very serious student, and since she was on the dean's list, obviously that's true.
Where does that work again?
Campus security.
No. So Karen is a supervisor?
Yes.
Okay.
Dorm security. Okay, so Karen confirmed that the police did speak with her, but all it included was writing a statement. She said she wished that she was actually asked questions to help more instead of just writing the statement and that's it. No one ever came to interview her. No PIs, no FBI, no one. Sharon Roush was the only one who reached out to her about 2 weeks after the disappearance. This was also when the first... So no one ever came to interview her. No PIs, no FBI, no one. Sharon Roush. Okay, this was also when she first found out that Maura even had a boyfriend. So Karen is saying, even though she followed the news, whatever, this was when she first found out Maura had a boyfriend. Interesting. Karen states her interaction with Maura was between 10:30 and 10:45 p.m., but she was not sure. She stated that Maura's shift would end at 1:30 a.m. So there's a whole bunch of different stories on when her shift ends. Some people say 12, some people say 3 a.m. if it's on the weekend, and then it's even been stated as 2 a.m. So there's all over the place. Okay, other sources say she was escorted back to her dorm room at 1:15 a.m. So could both be true? Is 10:30 when the other supervisor told Karen that something was wrong with Maura and Karen didn't get around to Maura until 1 a.m.? We really don't know. We have to investigate this. So here's the thing. So who did she talk to before the breakdown? This is critical, and I'm about to unleash a bombshell here. Are you ready, Maxwell?
I'll try to pay attention.
It's a tall task. So, Kathleen call was a 28-minute call. It was from 10:10 p.m. to 10:38 p.m. Is there a problem here, Maxwell? If Karen walked up to Maura and said she was catatonic at 10:30. How could she be catatonic if she's on the phone talking to Kathleen until 10:38?
That's fucked up. Well, she just probably gave the time wrong as far as...
Okay, so you're saying it's 10:45, so she just got off the phone with Kathleen at 10:38 and switched to catatonic. But, riddle me this, Maxwell. If she's catatonic, she gets off the phone at 10:38.
Catatonic who? Maura?
Yes.
Okay. Like... yeah, but
Who else was catatonic?
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, but I just don't see her, like, for some reason you keep saying catatonic and I just let it go. I didn't know she was freaking catatonic and shit.
She's in a
when
state.
When you're freaking in a nervous breakdown, you just kind of like...
She's zoned out or whatever. She's not checking people's IDs. Okay, so here's the point, Maxwell. 10:38 p.m. she gets off the phone with Kathleen. So if it's like 10:39ish and the other supervisor sees that there's something wrong with her, for whatever reason, this other supervisor doesn't say anything. He allows the student to continue not checking IDs, not doing their job, and goes to an eatery to find Karen and tell her that something wrong. So Karen rushes there within like 2 minutes to find her there catatonic, as if she found her at 10:45. Because Karen's not the one who discovered that she was catatonic. Are you following, Maxwell?
So who discovered that she was catatonic?
The other Are you paying attention?
Oh, the
the other supervisor.
Which was?
Well, I'll get to his name in a second, but it's irrelevant. If she got off the phone at 10:38, are you following?
Okay.
She gets off the phone at 10:38.
Yeah.
So let's say within.
But the only discrepancy is that she reported that at 10:30 that she was catatonic or some shit like that.
She said she got to Maura between 10:30 and 10:45.
How
is that possible? She was on the phone until 10:38. So if the other supervisor saw her at let's say 10:39,
like, I don't know. People mix up times like that. I don't think that's far off. People mix up times.
What's not far off? So what time did she see Maura? 1 o'clock. So she said it was 10:30 and it was really 1.
Wait, was it 1? It wasn't.
I'm asking you. You said people mix up time. So if
what
it was really 1, hold on.
It could be.
If it was really 1 and she said 10:30 to 10:45, that doesn't strike you as suspicious.
But it's really far. But that's not what happened. She said
it was reported at other sources that it was 1. I'll get to that in a second. I'm just pointing, Maxwell. So you're saying it might have been 10:50. So it's not that weird. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought it was close, like, but you're not saying that.
I'm saying okay. She definitively stated that her interaction with Maura was between 10:30 and 10:45. When pressed, based on the phone records, she said she wasn't sure after that. So she also stated that Maura's shift would end at 1:30 a.m. Okay, so the Billy Roush call was a 7-minute call between 12:07 and 12:14. So just after midnight. So here's the question. Is she still at her desk? Is she still doing security while talking to Billy? Or this is after she's escorted to her dorm room she talks to Billy?
She's still working because that's her job. Like,
And I'm talking about her cell phone record with Billy.
Yeah.
If Karen escorted her back to her room at 10:45, let's say that's accurate.
I forgot she got escorted. I forgot about that. Sorry.
What's going on? Because if the breakdown was between 1 and 1:15 a.m., because that's what it was also reported as, Karen's way off. But she said Karen did admit that if Maura was upset after talking to Billy, then it would have been after the Billy call. She didn't dispute that. She didn't say, no, there was no chance it was after 12 or after 1 a.m. She did not say that. She said if it was after that call, then maybe it was 1 a.m.
Wait, why does she not remember this?
That's a very good question, especially if she's finding a student catatonic, which she's never done before. But she's really sure about the 10:30 time before they point out the cell phone record. She's very sure before that.
Why was she so sure? That's weird.
Oh, Maxwell.
Wait, that's kind of...
All right, so let's say, here's the thing. If the breakdown is at 1, that's a lot of time to ruminate, even if it was after the Billy call. Because if she gets off the phone with Billy at 12:14, is she not checking IDs from 12:14 to 1? Or is she checking them and then she slowly stops checking them, and that's when the other supervisor sees her, there's something wrong with her for whatever reason, he doesn't say anything to her and he goes to Karen instead? Or did someone call the other supervisor and tell him, and then he told Karen? We don't know the exact details.
I don't understand, like, what was wrong with her that people saw? I don't get it. Like,
she's sitting there just zoned out, not checking people's IDs. Her job is to check people's IDs. So there's people just walking by the desk without signing in.
But now, when people did everyone's words like use catatonic?
No.
So she was just like
she was upset and not doing her job, which is a fireable offense. So she's supposed to be checking IDs, and people are supposed to be signing in. Now, so who knows who's walking into the dorms?
When people asked her how she was, like, did they explain her as just staring into space, or like?
Did you not pay attention? I just read what Karen said about Maura.
And which was?
That she wasn't answering her questions. All she said was, my sister, when she said what's wrong. And that's it. And then she kept pressing her. She wasn't saying anything. She was too catatonic.
My sister,
Mac, do you not remember that I just said Karen said that she couldn't even swipe her ID card to get into her dorm? That's how zoned out she was. You want to use zoned out instead of catatonic? You want to use too upset to even swipe the ID card?
I'm just saying, because like whenever I hear catatonic...
Didn't you even listen to the interview?
When I hear
Did you listen to the Karen interview?
No, I didn't.
Well, that was good for this podcast.
No, I never listened to it.
How did you know about it?
I saw the title on my YouTube. Okay. I saw the title on my YouTube. Like,
are you interested in this case, Maxwell?
Amazing interview with the supervisor.
Are you interested?
First time ever interview, and then
are you interested?
I wanted to listen to it, and then I decided.
Are you interested in this? Are you interested in this case?
Of course. I was gonna listen to it, but it disappeared from my feed, so I forgot about it.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. I just said it anyway. She was too catatonic. If you don't like the word catatonic, that's fine. She's too upset to even swipe her ID card to get into a building. She's not responding to Karen when she's asking her questions.
To swipe her own ID card to get into the building?
Yeah.
So what did she do? She just stayed out there?
Karen swiped it for her, I think she said. To get her in. Because Karen, did you not pay that? Karen escorted her back to her dorm.
Yeah.
So what do you think? They're just going to stand out there forever? Like, what? I'm not understanding your questions, Maxwell.
Okay, I got it.
She said she was not responding to her questions. And other than a few couple lines that she squeaked out, I have a big test.
So she was really upset. She was really upset. She just couldn't even think.
She was zoned out, yeah.
So if Karen wasn't there, she would have just stayed out by the door.
She would have just sat there, I guess, yeah.
She would have, and just passed out.
All right, so let's look at this description of this whole incident from James Renner's book. Karen Mayotte was the first person to notice that something was wrong with Maura Murray. Okay, so he's inaccurate there because apparently the other supervisor said that. And he's going to name the other supervisor. Until I tracked Karen down through social media, she had never been interviewed about the night Maura broke down at work. We met at Finder's Pub in West Boylston, Massachusetts, 2 days before the 7th anniversary of Maura's disappearance. The best word I can use to describe Karen is bubbly. She's the sort of person who says things like holy moly a lot. She's energetic like a kid.
Wait, who said holy moly a lot?
He's talking about Karen.
Okay.
He said she's the sort of person who says things like holy moly a lot. She's energetic, like a kid, but maternal at the same time. In fact, she has 4 children and was working as a first-grade teacher when we met. Back in 2004, Karen was the shift supervisor for the Umass Residence Hall security staff. At night, she patrolled the campus, checking to make sure doors were locked, alarms were set, and that each dorm had a security guard posted in the lobby. During the day, she studied the Holocaust and worked with Sudanese refugees. Though I protested, she bought me a Sam Adams and some fried clams, and I ate while she talked. I got the impression Karen was very happy that someone was finally listening, that she'd been waiting to share this story. Maura worked at Melville Hall, Karen explained. She worked the security desk checking IDs. Melville is located in the southwest quadrant of Umass, an area with a reputation for being the craziest quad to work. When the Sox play, things can get out of hand down there. Underage drinking, drugs, vandalism. At Umass, Maura was a bit of a loner, said Karen. Sometimes she'd see Maura eating lunch alone. It was hard to get Maura to open up. When she saw Maura reading a book about hiking the White Mountains titled Not Without Peril, Karen told her that she'd been there as a kid. I lied. I'd never been there, but I wanted to get her talking. She told me about her favorite trails around Mount Washington. Karen checked in with her lead supervisor around 10:30 the night of Maura's breakdown. He said, "Something's up with Maura, just so you know. She had been crying. I went to see what was up."
Wait, who did you say this to?
So Karen checked with her lead supervisor. So I guess she either normally has to check with the lead supervisor. I don't know. But so James Renner, why did he say that she was the first person when he's saying that Karen checked with her lead supervisor? Okay, I don't know. When Karen arrived at Melville, Maura was staring into space. I don't know how to explain it. She was just zoned out, no reaction at all. She was unresponsive. Maura had a cell phone on the desk, which was against regulations, but Karen let it slide. I pretended to look at the write-in sheet and kind of watched her out of the corner of my eye, said Karen. Then she said 2 words, my sister. It was very uncomfortable. I watched 2 people come in. One was a boy. She didn't even ask for his ID. She was catatonic, I think. Sobbing slightly and staring at the door. Karen stepped outside and called her boss, Nathaniel Whitmer. So actually, it might not be him. If he's the lead supervisor that is her boss, then it's Nathaniel Whitmer, or it's somebody else. She told him that Maura was in rough shape. Whitmer told Karen to send her home. So Karen packed up Maura's stuff. She signed her out in the log because Maura couldn't do it herself. They walked the short distance to Kennedy Hall together. I asked her if she wanted me to bring her some Dunkins, said Karen, but Maura didn't want donuts or coffee. She said something about nursing in the morning. She wanted to go to sleep. Okay, so that's interesting. It's just she did not say she has a big test tomorrow. That's what Karen said in the recent interview. But this is closer to the time. This was quite a few years ago where she was being interviewed by Renner. Karen was so concerned, she suggested to Maura that she check herself into the hospital, get some mental help. I said, Maura, do you have someone to talk to? She said, I have a roommate. That was a lie, Karen learned later. Maura's room was a single. Or a double with no roommate. Okay, when they arrived at Kennedy, Karen hugged Maura and kissed her on the cheek. She watched Maura walk upstairs. The next morning there was a snowstorm and classes were canceled. I thought, that's cool for her. She can get some rest. 4 days later, Karen got a call from Umass police. They told her Maura was missing, that her car had been found abandoned in the White Mountains. Karen went to the police station and filled out a report. She never heard back from the detectives. So this is bonus points for James Renner. So she just verified in her recent interview that she did not hear back from the detectives. Some people think James Renner makes up a lot of stuff. But the more we keep checking, the more he seems to accurately be reporting all of these interviews. I don't know what was wrong with her, said Karen. Was she suicidal? Why else would she go up there? So Karen's made it clear that she thinks that Maura was suicidal. So if Karen isn't on some wide conspiracy at UMass, she's pushing the suicide angle as well. So, any thoughts so far, Maxwell?
I feel bad for Maura.
Okay, so let's look at what Kathleen Murray and Tim Carpenter had said regarding the breakdown. So here's excerpts from New Hampshire Sunday News, October 28th, 2007. The source of her distress, Maura told the supervisor, was a phone conversation with Murray's sister. Since married, Kathleen Carpenter remembers finishing a phone call with Maura at about 10:20 the night of February 5th, but doesn't recall talking with her sister in the early morning hours. Kathleen, who said she had talked about troubles with her husband-to-be during the nighttime conversation with Maura, said her sister didn't seem upset. But she added Maura and Billy were having relationship troubles at the time. Kathleen said she takes sleeping pills at night and didn't remember a later call. She believes her sister went to the White Mountains to sort out her troubles with Billy. I think it was stress. I don't know what her and her boyfriend were going through, Carpenter said. I think that might have triggered it. They weren't getting along at the time. So Tim Carpenter even knows about this. That's kind of strange. So it seems like what Kathleen could have probably just told him, so I don't know. Here's another article, Where Could Maura Be? March 2nd, 2004, so this is just a couple weeks after she went missing, by Brian McGrory, Globe columnist. The mystery continues to deepen around Maura Murray, the nursing student who vanished in New Hampshire 3 weeks ago, after she slammed her car into some trees on a dark rural road. Now we know there was no accident with the trees, but investigators have determined the origin of an unusual telephone call that Murray received a few nights before she fled the University of Amherst at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. The conversation upset her so much that she had to be escorted from her job to her dorm room. The call, according to UMass Police Lieutenant Robert Thrasher, came from one of Murray's two sisters. But Thrasher has said police have yet to receive an explanation of what was so upsetting. Yesterday, Fred Murray, the girl's father, said that he was told that Maura's sister called her to talk about a monstrous fight with a boyfriend, but I don't think that would upset her all that much, Murray said. The more details are revealed, the more baffling the case becomes, police acknowledge. Yesterday, Thrasher said that Maura had fastidiously packed all her belongings into boxes before she left school, even removing the art from her dorm room walls. Meanwhile, one UMass friend has seemingly withheld information from police, saying she didn't want to get Maura in trouble.
Who said that?
I believe it was Kate Markopoulos, who was being uncooperative. UMass investigators, who have interviewed dozens of potential witnesses and combed through Murray's computer, share an in-depth timeline that preceded the disappearance. Murray received the call on Thursday evening, February 5th. On Saturday, February 7th, Maura and a girlfriend, Kate Markopoulos, had dinner with Fred Murray, who was visiting Amherst. Afterward, the father returned to his hotel, and the two young women attended a campus party. At 3:30 a.m., February 8th, Maura crashed her father's new Toyota into a roadside post. She told her father about the accident later that morning. Just after midnight on Monday morning, February 9th, she conducted a MapQuest search of the Berkshires and Burlington, Vermont on her personal computer. At 3:40 p.m. Monday, she withdrew $280 from an area ATM, then stopped at a liquor store. Surveillance cameras at the bank machine and in the in-store show that she was alone. So the police did look at the video from the liquor store. They just haven't released it. So, are you ready for the biggest bombshell?
Okay.
I don't think you're ready, Maxwell.
I like the other bombshell, but I'll be...
What bombshell? Oh, the child abuse worker?
Yeah.
That wasn't that much of a bombshell. Here's something bigger. Was there a house phone on the security desk?
What security desk?
The one she's working on.
Yeah. But like usually when they work these desks, it's just a fucking table. It's not like a security desk with a freaking phone attached.
Yeah, a table desk. Who cares? A desk is a table.
Was there a security phone? Okay.
Was there a house phone?
Like a line.
Yes, a phone on the desk. Here is the Caledonian Record. Family, friends of Maura Murray upset with investigation. February 27th, 2004. Pretty soon after. There also is the mysterious phone call Murray received while working as a security person at a residence hall at the UMass Amherst campus, February 5th. The call reportedly reduced Murray to tears, and her supervisor had to take her home because she was so distraught. UMass Detective Davies and his department have been able to track the phone call. We know the location, Davies said. We have not been able to identify to whom she was speaking. Her friends have no idea who called her. The call, according to UMass Police Lieutenant Thrasher, came from one of Murray's two sisters, but Thrasher said police have yet to receive an explanation of what was so upsetting. We didn't really talk about much. I had been fighting with my fiance and we talked about that, but I don't know why she would be upset about that, Kathleen said. Kathleen Murray said she talked to her sister regularly to chat. Like all of their phone conversations, the one on February 5th was about regular stuff, just trying to get through the day kind of thing, she said. When I heard she was crying after that, I couldn't understand why, especially because it's not like her to cry, she said. So this, closer to the date, Kathleen is saying there wasn't any kind of monstrous fight, and she doesn't know why. This is within weeks.
Okay, so Maura is not known to be a crier.
Correct.
Huh, that's very interesting.
So here's
so this catatonic state, she was also crying, like tears and shit like that.
yes. Didn't
Like
you pay
a-
attention? I said she was also sobbing, supposedly lightly, not terribly. But
Huh. And she's
anyway,
not-
Maxwell, you're missing the biggest detail ever.
Hold on. Here's the thing about this. Okay, so the phone call was tracked to the sisters.
No, were you not paying
I
attention?
was paying attention. You said like it was You said it was tracked to the sisters, and you said the
Okay,
sisters
we know
said-
here 2 different officers said 2 different things. So Davies is saying we know the location
Yes.
of the call. We cannot identify the caller. Now,
So
according
I was-
to another UMass police detective or UMass police lieutenant Thrasher, came from one of Maura's 2 sisters. These 2 officers are saying different things. They're talking about different phone calls. So listen, Maxwell. Okay. So she received a phone call. Once again, listen. There is the mysterious phone call Murray received. Okay. Maura is the one who called Kathleen and Bill. She did not receive the phone call from Kathleen or Bill. This is her cell phone. There are no records of any incoming calls. She called Kathleen at there's no records of any calls after she called Kathleen at 10:10 p.m. So, this call was tracked. Detective Davies confirmed this. So, speculation is the call was from somewhere on campus, a dorm room, and the time of the call was 12:40 a.m. This is after the Billy call.
And what time? And what time was the breakdown again? 10:30ish. Well, 10:30ish or 1ish.
Yes. So if
So
the
it's
call
almost more likely 1 because of this particular.
Yes, unless Maura wasn't at the desk. Yes. So, I mean, is this not a huge bombshell? Nobody talks about this. The Oxygen Show never mentioned the house phone. I mean, there's more evidence. I'm gonna get into it.
Okay, so all right, hold on. So the house phone, there was a received phone call at what time again?
This is speculation. So, well, let me get to more of the evidence. So, okay, if this is the internal phone network of the campus, then the campus police would easily be able to trace it because it's going through the central office. So they know exactly where the call came from and how long it was. They're withholding this information. Davies confirmed they tracked the call. UMass police would not be able to be tracking her personal private cell phone.
Right.
So I think Haverhill did it, and of course the FBI can do it. Other police departments can do it. Why would campus police be tracking all her cell phones? She didn't even go missing there. Supposedly, she went missing in New Hampshire.
Wait, they can't track her cell phone.
He said he tracked the phone call that she received. So he can't be talking about her cell phone, can he?
Yeah, I know.
So he's talking about the house phone. What else could he talk about?
Wait. So, yeah, I know. So
Okay. I thought you were disputing the
wait.
existence of a house phone.
no.
So the universities just...
Wait. Did people assume that it was a cell phone track?
I'm guessing. Well, also, it's kind of confusing because Thrasher...
That can't be because the only way you can track is like from like police, right?
Unless if it's an internal phone system of the campus. So let me go over some more. From the Caledonian Record, January 26, 2005. The first number was to a UMass Amherst dormitory. The number appeared to be dead end for investigators because the person who lived there likely moved on. Okay, so a few things. The person who lived there likely moved on. That means that the call was identified. So if they're talking about this call that she received, and this was not revealed I mean, there's quite a few times before this was revealed. And then keep in mind, this is never mentioned ever again. So if there is some kind of cover-up and they let this slip, then again, if Davies is not in on the conspiracy, he could be honestly reporting. And then that's why Thrasher doesn't mention it. He only talks about the calls with the sister. And nobody else ever talks about this again. So it's possible that not all of the police are involved if there is some kind of a conspiracy.
Did you like the interview? Did you like the interview with Karen?
Sure.
Was it informative or?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Again, she left out the house phone. Why would she leave out the house phone? She must know there's a house phone. It's right there on the desk, in addition to her cell phone, in addition to Maura's cell phone.
Oh, okay, got it. I see what you mean. Most likely by mistake. I don't know. Just didn't come up, I guess.
And so this is a 12:40 phone call. So here's the thing. Where did that phone call come from? It could have come from a dorm. It could have also theoretically come from the on-campus art gallery, right, where she worked with Sarah Alfieri. Did Sarah call her? Is Sarah involved in this whole thing? We don't know. It could have been anybody. It could have been somebody threatening her. It could have been something relating to the Vassy hit and run. It could have been any of these things, and we don't know. So if there was some kind of illegal drug thing, I mean, so everybody always wants to talk about her cell phone. Who was she talking to? Why is nobody talking about the house phone, Maxwell?
Because it was rarely used. I don't know.
How do you know?
Because no one talked about it.
Is that because they know that that's where the phone call came in from?
I don't know.
And they don't want anybody else to know? So here's what's weird.
What phone call are you talking about? Which part?
The house phone. Whoever called her on the house phone at 12:40. If she's there, that caused the 1 a.m. breakdown.
So you say it could be like the drug thing?
We don't know what it could... I mean, it could be anything, but here's the point. Whoever called... They never came forward, did they?
Because whoever called is what caused the breakdown.
The only thing that makes...
Is what triggered the
exactly,
breakdown.
and what triggered everything.
Right.
Did they call to warn her? Is that why she was so scared? They said they were going to harm her? What could cause her to go into a catatonic state like that?
Yeah, that is messed up. For someone who never cries and rarely, like, she's rarely in that state of panic, right? Like she's rarely...
Let's say if that pizza drug, let's say that guy that worked at pizza was a drug guy and he used the Saturn for whatever, and the Saturn hit Patrice Vassy. And she was informed of this on that phone call. By the way, I hit Patrice Vassy with your car. She's on probation for the credit card fraud. She's going to get kicked out of school. It's her Saturn. How is she going to explain this away?
That's a high stress moment.
And especially if that's a very dangerous person. And if that person knows that she's going to out them, what are they going to do? And what did they say to her in that phone call?
I see what you mean.
If it was an innocent phone call, how come that person...
And there's a Billy Roush... What time was the Billy Roush call?
12:07 to 12:14. It was before the 12:40 call.
This is very interesting. Okay, so
she talked to her sister.
How many phone calls were there? So their sister, then Billy Roush,
and then this phone. The house phone.
So there's 3 major calls.
Yes.
Any
Then she calls the pizza place later, at 3:40.
At 3:40 a.m.
Yeah.
Getting upset to feed her
So
stress.
that phone call could even be more critical than this 12:40 because we don't know what was said on any of those calls.
So you're saying like it's possible like the pizza call could be like a drug thing?
We don't know, but the 12:40 call
I
kick-started all of this.
I think she's just eating a whole pie just to get rid of her stress.
The 12:40 call kicked off all of this, and if it was an innocent call, why has that caller not revealed themselves? Or it was a wrong number, but why would a wrong number? So if it was a house phone, that means it's an unlisted phone. So so people have long speculated that Maura must have had another phone. What if she used the unlisted house phone to make personal calls that she didn't want to be showing up on the bill because her cell phone was a gift from Billy's family?
Right.
So the Roushes could see her phone activity. If she's using the security desk house phone to make personal calls, possibly to another boyfriend, possibly to whoever.
Wait, hold on. There's a limit to these house...
Correct. It can only happen when she's at work.
It can only... What happened?
Well, she can only receive the phone calls on the house phone when she's at work, because she's only at the desk with the house phone at work.
Yeah, well...
So she can only receive phone calls during her work hours.
Yeah, right. Right, well, that, and also you can't call out, of course.
Says who? She could probably call. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, but you can't call out of a security phone for personal calls.
Well, how do you know it's a specific security phone? It could just be a phone line that's on the desk.
Okay, but like
kind of like an office line.
I think a university would stop, would cut off that line.
Possibly.
For personal long distance phone calls to India or some shit.
What if
like
they
that.
weren't long distance? What if they were all within campus? Dorms, art gallery.
Okay, within campus, I guess.
Which I think it has to be within campus because for it to be traced, like Davey said, it would have to be within the dorm or the art gallery that was on campus. It would have to be. It would have to be within the campus phone network.
Actually, you're right. Like, so it has to be within campus because those calls, I just can't imagine them being able to call out to other places.
So here's the other thing. I don't want to get too much into West Point now, but that time period, those few days, was also coincidentally.
What day was this again? What day? This is what? Like, what's the date
Thursday
of this?
into Friday.
Well, what are the dates on
The
that?
February 5th, she went missing Monday the 9th.
This is what?
This is
Friday?
February 5th,
5th
Thursday into
Thursday.
Friday. This is late.
Thursday
This
to
is
Friday.
after
Got it,
midnight. So
and then
technically it's
Monday.
the 6th. Technically it's the 6th.
Okay, got it. So Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, and then Sunday night she went missing.
No.
I forgot what it was.
She went missing Monday night in New Hampshire. Maxwell, we talked about the specific timeline.
Wait, Monday night, and okay, got it.
Okay. Oh man, who's Maura Murray, Maxwell? Okay, so as I was just saying, coincidentally, within those few days, that's when Donald Rumsfeld announced there was an investigation into assault and harassments in the military. That Thursday, it broke on the news that there was an investigation in West Point in the military for sexual harassment. So what if she was a victim? She came forward. That's why she left West Point. And now, what if the phone call was related to that? I mean, I don't want to get into crazy conspiracies, but what if someone from West Point, what if someone from West Point or involved with people at West Point was working with campus security? And they were the ones that
That's
called
crazy.
it.
I didn't know about it. Is this a new thing?
No, we discussed this in previous podcasts.
Right. but I forgot the significance of that. Like, that's so weird.
Here's the other thing.
Wait. So the news broke out on the
National news
in West Point. And
there was a military investigation, West Point and in the military in general as well.
That there was like abuse with the students.
And there was an investigation launched. Yes.
And it's a possibility that Maura was a victim, and
well, we don't know. Yeah.
This is a theory, but like she
like I said, I don't really want to get into that, but. Here's the thing. So here's the other thing we can deduce. Whoever called her at 12:40 knew that she was at the desk at that time.
Okay.
So that means that Maura knew who was calling, and then that's whoever that someone was is the one that has upset her. So I mean, if we're looking at more mild possibilities, this person could possibly know if Maura has another boyfriend. They could possibly say, okay, I know about your other boyfriend, I'm telling Billy. Because Billy had the phone number of Kate Markopoulos, like the dorms. Like, Billy had all these people that knew her. He had their phone numbers. So these people knew Billy as well. They met Billy. They knew Billy.
Okay.
And a lot of them didn't like him, but they knew him.
Yeah, because he projected himself on TV, by the way, like a really nice guy. I don't know, but everyone says he's an asshole or some shit.
Well, he's currently under investigation
for
sexual assault. You think that's funny?
Well, no, because I remember, yeah,
I mean, it is possible that the person is also kind of innocent because after she went missing, they don't want to out themselves, saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, I made the phone call that upset her and caused her to do all this." So they might, if it was more innocent, they might not want to say for that reason as well.
I don't get it. What do you mean?
If the person just said, "Oh yeah, you have a drinking problem, I'm gonna tell Billy," and it wasn't that bad, and then Maura goes missing, they might not want to be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I was the person that called Maura and told her that." Like, would you want to come out and say that now?
Oh, I see.
So even if it wasn't somebody, if it wasn't someone
It-
threatening
so-
her, it wasn't someone.
Okay, got it. So if someone
Okay,
outed
so
her,
now again, we have to go down every single rabbit hole. Some people are saying that Kathleen might have been on campus and made the call from a dorm, or Julie, because we don't know. Because if she talks to Kathleen on her cell phone, where was Kathleen? I don't think their whereabouts, her and Tim Carpenter, I don't think their whereabouts have ever been accounted for this entire time period, all the way up to her disappearance on that day.
Really?
Yeah.
But I guess no one really paid attention.
I think the police probably asked, but we don't have that information, and we don't know if that's corroborated. So was anybody else on campus? We don't know.
How far was the house from the? How far are they from the UMass?
Couple hours. I mean, it wasn't that close. 2 hours maybe.
So
Couple hours.
It's not likely then, because like they'd have to rent out hotels and shit like that.
Not necessarily if they were just stopping by the UMass. But here we go. Okay, so from the family website, on the old forums, Here is a post. However, it has been confirmed that the time the police reported that Maura had an upsetting phone call, around 1 a.m., that they reported as Thursday night, which would have actually been Friday morning, was not the time Maura spoke to her sister. Maura's phone records show that she spoke to her sister from about 10 p.m. to 10:20 Thursday night. There is no record of a 1 a.m. call on Maura's cell phone. Okay, so the police reported that the upsetting phone call occurred around 1 a.m. Okay, so regarding the security desk phone number, this phone has an unlisted phone number, so calls cannot come in on the phone unless from the security office or police station. So if this is true, it opens up another can of worms. That would mean that campus security or Umass PD or Amherst PD would have been the only ones who could call her. So if it's one of these cadets or law enforcement, it might have to be one of them that is calling her, which would narrow it more, if that's true. But, or it could just mean it's an unlisted number, and if she has the number, she could then give it to anybody. So, this was posted by Peabody on the original family website forum. Most people believe Sharon Roush is Peabody. I have not seen this 100% corroborated. I don't think Sharon ever said this, but this is what most researchers believe. So Peabody, from this same thread, this post. I have stated before that I have a connection to the family. The sister denied that there was any call at 1 a.m. She still says that there was never any such call. From the evidence that has been presented to me, I believe her. She was extremely distraught over Maura's missing. She told the police over and over, I have never talked to Maura at 1 a.m. She told the police that she and Maura talked often, just never at 1 a.m. The police were not interested in any other conversation. The sister was distraught over her sister's missing. How do you know that the sister did not say that she spoke with her sister on Thursday? I know that she told the police that she spoke to her sister regularly and that she has not talked to Maura when she was upset. I also know that the police were only interested in a 1 a.m. call, which to my knowledge has never been proven. In fact, the cell phone bill confirms there was no conversation at 1 a.m. on the cell phone. As to a call on the security phone, Maura would have had to call someone and give them the number for them to call her. She was prohibited from taking personal calls on the security phone, which puts us back to the mystery of why she was so emotional at 1 a.m. It certainly seems plausible to me that the police ruled a 1 a.m. phone call between Maura and her sister based on some interview at Umass, but did not base the call on phone records. Then, once they could not confirm a 1 a.m. call, they never reported to the public that there was never any such call. After all, they have never released information that the bus driver has been cleared of any suspicion, yet those in the family have been told by police that he has been cleared. So this is Peabody posting this information. If Peabody is Sharon Roush, this is coming from her, and the police were very interested in a 1 a.m. call, and she's also referencing the security desk. She seems to think that because Maura was prohibited from using it, that she didn't use it, and there was still a mystery. But just because she was prohibited from using it doesn't mean she didn't use it, or it could mean that security or security personnel or police officer called her on that phone for whatever reason. I mean, I just thought of something else. What if it was a police officer at Amherst who knows that, or who possibly, if she did hit Patrick Vassie, he knows she did and he's blackmailing her for some reason? What do you think about that?
Say that over time.
If it's a police officer that, for whatever reason, knows or thinks that Maura hit Patrick Vassie, or knows that the Saturn hit Patrick Vassie, even if she didn't, and he's blackmailing her. That opens the door to some possibilities as well. So, a supposed friend of Maura also posted this. I honestly don't remember if she was working that night. I must remind you that shifts were from 8 to 12 a.m. on weekdays, 8 to 2 a.m. on Thursday nights, and 8 to 3 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. So if the accident occurred during the day, that is very unlikely. Additionally, it is unlikely that she would leave her shift early. Okay. Here's another thing, though. If it wasn't the phone call, one of the supervisors or anybody walking by the desk could have told Maura something upsetting, right? Or threatened her.
Yeah.
Who said it had to be a phone call?
Right.
So here's the thing. The list of people that signed in should be explored. But
okay.
I still don't think that'll help, because if it's somebody threatening her, he wouldn't have signed in. So, I mean, it would still be helpful to have the list, but it might have just been whoever walked by saying whatever they said. Okay. So, just one final thought. This is a forum post I found dated January 24th, 2009, relating to the whole Umass situation. Sorry for the long post, but wanted to keep all thoughts related to subject together. Get out the popcorn and the peanuts to throw later. Helena advised that the call came from a campus phone at 12:40 a.m. I am a stickler for timing. Evidence is in the timing. She said the call had been investigated, but it could not be proven who made the call, as it was a campus phone in a public domain of the university. Okay, so here's another point. Does that mean it wasn't from a dorm room and it was from some lobby type area? Like if it was from the phone in the art gallery. So it's connected on the UMass phone network, but it's not. It's in some kind of a common public area, so they can never identify who made the call, even if they had the location of the phone, correct? So maybe they don't have a dorm and a person. They only have a public common area. Okay. They were not able to trace the call because law enforcement waited too long, although we have the conflicting article that said they did trace the call. The semester was finished and the dorms vacated by the time the call was investigated. That being said, one could nail down the possibilities if one could obtain a listing for those located in the dorm where the call originated. This is beyond the scope of this forum, however, not beyond the powers of the university and law enforcement. There is the problem that visitors could have been staying at the door, thus making the search more difficult. However, the first task would be to cross-reference if there was anyone who Maura knew at the time or from her past who might have been living in the dorm. It is possible that if a person was harassing her, she might not have known them, but they saw her either at the dorm working or at the art gallery working. I guess we're going with a stalker idea. We mentioned this briefly, but we never really got into it too much. Universities do cover up incidents that throw them in a bad light. I cite an example from a very old and established university in Nova Scotia where there were many complaints of assault. These went unheeded by the administration finally. So I'm going to paraphrase this. Basically, a whole bunch of people were assaulted, and she was a director. She was director at a youth health adolescent center up to age 30. The complaints came into the center. They all looked into it, and the culprits were members of the football team, mostly American, and the star player had raped and molested numerous students. Most of the victims had been threatened to keep silent. So the victims went to the board of trustees, the alumni, and threatened to go to the press. Nothing appeared to have been done, and the victims went home with their scars. Most did not return. So the complaints did not go unheard by the board of trustees. They gave the American president his walking papers and installed a woman as president, first time for a female president. It was no time before heads began to roll. The football coach and those complicit in covering up the assaults were dismissed. The football players and other culprits did not return to the university. No one was ever prosecuted for these abuses against the female college students, all of them Canadian and mostly local Nova Scotians. The point being, no one in the establishment wanted to rock the boat, else the college would lose all their lucrative foreign students, and certainly did not want the matter to go public. These complaints were suppressed, and many of the students simply left school. We are talking here of at least 75 who came out for the talk I gave. My guess, there were likely many, many more victims who were afraid or reluctant to come forward as they were afraid to tell. So the military suppressed and ignored complaints of assault in the United States, and likely in Canada as well. So Rumsfeld inquiry into such allegations on February 5th, the day Maura became upset. Is this another coincidence, Maxwell?
Maybe.
Yeah, oh man. So Maura was asked to leave West Point. She had made it. Did she make a complaint of harassment or sexual abuse? And the inquiry announced the day she became upset is compelling. So this person said, my guess is that there was a male harassing Maura, either from the university or from West Point. It is possible that the person she complained about at West Point transferred to the University of Massachusetts. That's a bizarre theory. It is possible it is not the same person, but another predator. It is possible that it is a friend of the abusers or girlfriend threatened Maura. After all, it is a small world. And then she also goes into, there is too the coincidence of the timing of Vassie's accidents. What if someone wanted Maura's silence so desperately they were willing to go to any end? Such as this person called Maura and said, if you don't shut up, the same will happen to you as happened to Vassie. It is possible that the person could have even harmed him for the specific purpose of scaring Maura. This is pretty twisted, but hey, there are a lot of crazies in the world who would stop at nothing to get what they want. For all we know, someone could have caused Maura to have the accident with her father's car, followed her. The fact that Maura went to her father's motel that night has always struck me as odd. There had to be a reason, and perhaps Maura was afraid to go to her dorm, or she has something very vital to share with her father. The question...
Who's writing this?
Just a random forum poster I found.
Okay.
The question then becomes if any of these scenarios might be the reason for Maura's sudden departure from university. Why didn't she tell? We do not know what she may have shared with her father, but I think we can presume that if he knew someone was threatening Maura, Fred told the investigators and or law enforcement. We simply do not know what happened that precipitated Maura heading north to the Haverhill area, but I agree it was huge in her life. Maura does seem to be the silent type, and I believe she was under duress. Whether Maura's departure from Amherst to the north has anything to do with her disappearance is unknown. As stated previously, it is cruel irony if she fled from one perpetrator to meet yet another further down the road. It is possible that there is no lack of evil people in the world. I feel confident that the private investigators have looked at Maura's past and any associations that might be related to what happened in Amherst. They are not fools, but rather very dedicated individuals adept with investigational skills and have access to information that we do not have. Weeper has stated that the investigation is centered in Haverhill. I trust this information to be true. Okay, so she made some interesting points also with the cruel irony. What if all of this is true at Umass and then she escapes and then she's killed by some crazy local in New Hampshire? That would be really messed. I mean, it's messed up either way, but that's indeed cruel irony.
Hey, but why do you go that far? Why didn't you think that maybe someone followed her from West Point or something?
Maybe they did, but then someone local in New Hampshire killed her before they got a chance to.
Oh, like a planned.
No, not planned. Just a local psycho,
Okay.
like Rick Forcier. Do you know who that is?
I heard his name a few times.
All right, so that was a big bombshell. So the final thing I'm going to go over. This is probably the longest podcast episode we've done. So final connections. Who went to UMass? Maggie Freeling went to UMass. Eric Begley, one of the producers of The Oxygen Show, also went to UMass. He went from 94 to 97. So here's some last names in the UMass directory that you might recognize, Maxwell. Or maybe since you're Maxwell, you might not recognize them. But tell me if you do. Williams, West, Smith, Soto, Roush, Provencher, Olson, Monahan, McNamara, Mayotte,
So everyone went to UMass.
Lavoie, Keys,
These are all
Jackson,
the top shit.
Guy, Forcier, Dudek, Collins, Boisvert, Atwood. So these are just last names.
Yeah.
These are just last names. But that's quite a few last names of the players in the case, wouldn't you say? And there was also some people involved in the Breonna Maitland case.
But
What do you think, Maxwell?
Well, I get it. Like they went to the same university, but so what? It's like
That
close.
many people? I mean, literally,
Okay. We'll do this list.
Forcier is not that common of a name, Maxwell.
Do this list. Make a list of those who did not go to UMass, and then we can see.
Is Forcier that popular a name, Maxwell?
No.
I mean, obviously Smith is. You know, some of the other ones. I mean, Atwood, I guess.
What's your point with this? What's your point with all the names that were involved with it? So what's your point with all this?
Well, so basically relatives of all these major players. So, again, is it not enough of a coincidence that Butch Atwood is from Taunton, Massachusetts? It is not enough of a coincidence that people from Maura's hometown moved to Haverhill? Do we have to add another coincidence that they have family members that are going to UMass? Like, all of these people? I mean, if it was only a couple.
Yeah, so what? These are different graduation years. So what? Like.
Yeah, that's quite a few people. I mean, it's not like it was only one or two of them. You don't find this? I mean, this is a crazy coincidence.
I don't know. I don't think so. Cause I don't know.
Like the uncommon names. You don't think is coincidence? How many universities are there in the country, Maxwell?
I really don't know.
Think about it.
I don't know. There's a lot of them.
Look it up.
Like 50, 100.
Look it up.
So
Look it up.
Should be because you got to look at the opposite too.
No, not really. Why? Let's say half did and half didn't. There should only be like a very small percentage that did, right? If it was only one or two people, that'd be fine.
I don't know. So here's the answer from the. It says that there are 2,618 accredited four-year colleges and universities. most operate privately or as part of state governments. Now we have a question of our own.
Okay, so Maxwell, why are they going to? You know how many other colleges are in the area? They should be going to the other. I mean, there should be. I mean, UMass is a big school. Obviously, if we have a Smith, we have an Atwood, that's not too crazy. But to have all of them, I mean, even Olson, that's fine. But like Forcier is not a common name. How many people named Forcier have you known?
Wait, so where'd you? So they all graduated from?
I don't know about graduated. They attended.
But so what? What's the significance of that? So what? They went to the damn school. Who cares? Who gives a shit?
I mean, here's the thing: the fact that there's that many of them. So like Monahan, that's a common name, right? Not bad. But why McNamara? Witness A. That's Witness A's last name. And Lavoie. How many people you know named Lavoie? I mean, that's not the most common or uncommon.
I know McNamara is that politician guy that started wars and shit like that. I don't know, he had a documentary on his own.
It's the combination that makes it strange, I think. It's not necessarily, but whatever. So that's, we hope you enjoyed another edition of the Mindshock podcast. It may have provided more questions than answers, but if you like our podcast, you could donate to our PayPal. Check out our social media and our Patreon. This is Bruce McGuire.
And Maxwell Powers.
Signing off. Have a good night. See you guys next time.